The Priestess's time travel. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326, Fairy in the Painting 2. I'm not a fairy either. The beauty replied. Du Zufei was confused. Because of the friendliness shown by the beauty, he was no longer afraid. He asked, "Then what are you?" "I'm an elf." The beauty said. "Elf?" Du Zufei stared at the beauty's ears and said, "Your ears are not pointy." "Why should my ears be pointy?" The beauty was puzzled. Du Zufei, elves all have pointy ears. The beauty was shocked. "Have you seen other elves?" "Of course." Du Zufei used his mobile phone to search for information about elves and movies with elves and showed them to the beauty. The beauty took the phone in confusion and looked through the introduction and videos about elves under Du Zufei's guidance. She figured out what the elves Du Zufei was talking about were. "I'm different from them." The beauty told Du Zufei what the elves in this world were like. "You are not an elf from abroad." Du Zufei asked, "Do those elves with pointy ears really exist?" The beauty shook her head and said honestly, "I don't know." Du Zufei didn't care whether the elves with clipped ears existed or not. He cared about how the elves in front of him appeared and why they appeared in front of him. "That's because your blood stained this ancient painting, which prompted my birth." The beauty pointed at the scroll and told Du Zufei that it was an ancient painting, but because it was too old and not well preserved, the picture became blurred, and there were holes bitten by insects on the scroll, which looked like it had no collection value, so the previous owner of the ancient painting threw it away as garbage. In fact, after thousands of years of gestation, the ancient painting had already bred an elf, but it just didn't have the chance to take shape. And Du Zufei's blood was an opportunity that facilitated the formation of the elf. Correspondingly, there was an unbreakable connection between the elf and Du Zufei. "So, in the future, you will do whatever I ask you to do." Du Zufei's eyes lit up. The beauty said, "Don't do things that are against the will of heaven and earth." Du Zufei, "Of course, I still have principles in life. Although he is not ambitious, he is still a good person overall and will never do bad things." Du Zufei remembered that he didn't know the beauty's name yet, so he asked, "Do you have a name? Do you want me to choose one for you?" The beauty said, "My name is Huanreo." "You're talking in circles." Du Zufei was illiterate. "Why do you always like to talk in circles?" Huanreo frowned and explained her name to Du Zufei. Hu is the Huan of Huanhua, composed of the characters for woman and painting. Rao is the Rao of enchanting, composed of the characters for woman and Yao. "This name is good." Du Zufei refused to admit that he was illiterate. He saw the time displayed on his mobile phone. It was almost 11 o'clock, the morning classes were almost over, and he was too lazy to go to school, so he took out a bag of bread, ate while turning on the computer, wanting to play a few games. Huanreo followed Du Zufei step by step. Du Zufei glanced at Huanreo and felt that this girl was so beautiful and pleasing to the eye, and couldn't help but think of his previous bold words. It would be great to have such a wife, it would be so face-saving to take her out. Besides, elves are not ghosts, so even if they do that, it won't hurt them, right? Du Zufei's eyes turned around, thinking about taking Huanreo out to save face for himself and slap his ex-girlfriend. The more he thought about it, the happier he felt, and he couldn't help but laugh out loud. Huanreo pointed out very bluntly, "You are laughing with bad intentions." "I'm not." Du Zufei quickly stopped laughing and said to Huanreo, "Don't follow me all the time, just do whatever you want." "Huanreo, I don't have anything I want to do. Otherwise, can you assign me something to do?" Du Zufei said, "Then help me wash the dirty clothes and clean up the room. By the way, can you cook? If you can, make lunch. There are ingredients in the refrigerator." Du Zufei gave a series of orders. Don't ask him why there are ingredients in the refrigerator of this bachelor. It's because before Su Qingni broke up with him, she would come to his place every once in a while to help his sister-in-law's house and cook a meal for him. Su Qingni bought all the food, but she broke up with him just 2 days after they bought it. Huanreo didn't move and asked Du Zufei, "What is a refrigerator?" Du Zufei looked at Huanreo in ancient costume and asked, "Do you know how to wash clothes?" Huanreo replied, "Put it in water, beat it with a laundry mallet, wash it, and hang it up." Sure enough, the consciousness of this new elf is the consciousness of the ancients. He doesn't know what a refrigerator or a washing machine is, and he doesn't even know what a gas stove is. Du Zufei sighed, stood up from the computer desk, took Huan Rao around in his room, introduced her to various home appliances and household equipment in the house, and threw the dirty clothes into the washing machine. This is a fully automatic washing machine. All you have to do is throw the dirty clothes in, add some detergent, and then press the start button. It will automatically wash the clothes and can also clean and dehydrate. When you hear the washing machine emit 5 short beeps, it means the clothes are washed. You can then take the clothes out to dry in the sun. This is a refrigerator. The upper layer is the freezer, where meat or food that needs to be stored for a long time is placed. The lower layer is the fresh keeping room, where vegetables and fruits are stored. But tomatoes and bananas cannot be put in the refrigerator. This is a tomato. It looks beautiful, and it tastes delicious. My favorite foods are tomato fish fillet and tomato scrambled eggs. Remember, you can learn online in the future, and make them for me when you learn. This is a gas stove. Look, this is the switch, and you can light the fire by operating it in this way. This way is a high fire, and this way is a low fire. This is a vacuum cleaner. This is a water heater. This is a TV. This is a computer. You can access the internet. You can learn a lot of things on the internet and understand the common sense of this world. Du Zufei looked at Huan Rao with sparkling eyes staring at the computer, and said, I will go to the computer city to buy you a new computer this afternoon. From now on, the computer will be yours exclusively. Huan Rao floated up with joy and said happily, Can I go to the computer city with you? Du Zufei looked at Huan Rao's outfit and said, Your outfit is not suitable for going out. You will be stared at? Huan Rao was very disappointed. She really wanted to go out and take a good look at the world. She was bored not long ago and was full of curiosity about this world. Du Zufei couldn't bear to see Huan Rao's lost look. He coughed and said, Well, I'll go out and buy you a few sets of clothes. You can go out after changing your clothes. Chapter 327, The Immortal in the Painting I. Du Zufei took his wallet and went out. Huan Rao didn't feel unhappy being left at home. Du Zufei went out first to take her out, for her own good. Huan Rao was in a good mood and walked around the house to see if there was anything she could do. Du Zufei introduced the usage of various appliances and equipment in the house to her. Huan Rao had memorized them and tried them out. Now the washing machine was washing clothes. Du Zufei said that he would buy lunch directly from outside, so there was no need to wash clothes or cook. Huan Rao could only clean the house. Turning on the vacuum cleaner, Huan Rao began to clean. Du Zufei didn't know anything about women's clothes. His own clothes were all bought by his own mother. Du Zufei went straight to the shopping mall near the community, bought a few sets of clothes at a small shop on the first floor, blushed and bought a few sets of underwear, and then bought a family bucket of Grandpa Ken's and returned to the rental house. Opening the door, Du Zufei saw that the house was so clean that it seemed to glow. How did you get this? Du Zufei was surprised. You can't achieve such an effect just by using a vacuum cleaner and a rag. Look at the furniture, they all seem to be new. When Su Qingni cleaned the house, she just wanted to make it a little cleaner. How did she achieve such an effect now? Huan Rao smiled and replied, I first used a vacuum cleaner to suck up all the dust in the house. I wanted to wipe the furniture with a rag, but suddenly I remembered that I knew magic, so I used a cleaning spell, and then the house became so clean as new. Du Zufei. I forgot that this person is an elf. Du Zufei's eyes lit up. He had a snail girl. He gave the clothes to Huan Rao and taught the girl how to change clothes. Du Zufei's rental house has 2 rooms and 1 living room. The other room is where his parents live when they come to visit him, and now it is just right for Huan Rao to live in. Huan Rao went into her room to change clothes and came out after a while. Du Zufei has no taste, and the clothes he bought are really ugly, but Huan Rao is pretty, and she can wear a sack to show off her charm. Moreover, if the clothes can be sold, they are not good looking only because the person wearing them is not suitable, not because there is something wrong with the clothes themselves. As soon as Huan Rao came out, Du Zufei's eyes were about to bulge out. Although Huan Rao's ancient costume looks very beautiful, because of her inhuman identity, Du Zufei always felt a little hairy when he saw her. Although he had some thoughts about men and women, they were not many. Now that Huan Rao has changed her clothes, she is a fashionable beauty who is more beautiful than movie stars, and Du Zufei's brothers are ready to make a move. Does it look good? Huan Rao asked Du Zufei. She always felt that her current look is very strange. It looks good, very good. Du Zufei wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth and said to Huan Rao, I bought a computer this afternoon. Let's go shopping and buy clothes for you. Whatever clothes you like, just buy them. We are not short of money. Su Qingni, who has never received a gift of more than 100 yuan from Du Zufei, snorted coldly and passed by. After eating the whole family bucket, Huan Rao likes to eat these so-called junk foods. The two of them were not satisfied after eating a bucket, so they ordered another takeaway through the app. The two went out to buy a computer and clothes. The computer was quickly fixed. For Huan Rao, a newcomer, to use, there is no need for a very good computer, and a laptop worth 3,000 or 4,000 is enough. As for clothes, Huan Rao only bought 1 or 2. She was still not used to the clothes of this era, so she asked Du Zufei to buy a batch of cloth from the internet. She combined the ancient and modern styles and made a batch of fashionable but not revealing clothes with a light classical style. Not to mention, such clothes look better on Huan Rao and set off her temperament. Huan Rao also made a few clothes for Du Zufei. When Du Zufei wore them, he turned his original handsomeness into handsomeness, attracting the attention of many girls. Just when the school was reselecting the school flower list and school grass list, Du Zufei was actually on the school grass list. Although he was the last one, he was also very proud. The relationship between Du Zufei and Huan Rao is getting better and better. They have passed the strange period of getting to know each other and are developing into lovers. Du Zufei asked a friend to help Huan Rao get an ID card, so he can take her out openly. Du Zufei decided to wait until the school held a dance party before taking Huan Rao to appear in front of people, so that all the boys in the school would envy and be jealous of him. Make all the girls in the school feel ashamed, especially Su Qingni. Humph, let her look down on him. She doesn't want herself, there are many people who want her, and they are more beautiful and gentle than her, a perfect wife and mother. He will take Huan Rao to turn around in front of Su Qingni for a few times until Su Qingni feels inferior. Du Zufei sat in front of the computer playing games, and Huan Rao sat in front of another computer, learning modern knowledge through the internet. Huan Rao learns very quickly, and has already learned daily knowledge from elementary school to high school, and is now learning university knowledge. As for what major she is studying, Du Zufei doesn't know. He let Huan Rao learn whatever she liked. Huan Rao was so smart, and her ability to absorb knowledge made Du Zufei feel inferior. After completing a dungeon task, Du Zufei stretched and turned to look at Huan Rao, wanting to see what Huan Rao was looking at. The picture he saw scared him. He saw that Huan Rao's upper body was swallowed up by the computer screen. Seeing that her lower body was about to be swallowed up, Du Zufei rushed over and hugged Huan Rao's lower body and dragged her back. Huan Rao was dragged out of the computer screen. She asked Du Zufei in confusion, Fei, why are you dragging me? What? If I don't drag you, you will be swallowed by the computer. Du Zufei shouted. He hugged Huan Rao tightly, and his heart was still pounding. Huan Rao knew that Du Zufei had misunderstood, and was moved by Du Zufei's true feelings. She reached out and patted Du Zufei's back to comfort him and told him not to be afraid. It's not that the computer swallowed me up, but I want to learn from the computer and the internet. Enter the computer. Du Zufei was at a loss. Can you enter the computer? Yes. Huan Rao nodded. I am an elf, and an elf in the painting. Although the computer is not paper, it can also carry pictures. I can naturally get into it. I can also get into the TV. Huan Rao said, after entering the computer, I can surf the internet. As long as I think about the knowledge on the internet, I can quickly absorb it. Du Zufei took a breath. This ability, no wonder Huan Rao learned so fast. It turns out that she can take shortcuts. If she absorbs all the knowledge on the internet in this way, wouldn't she become a living encyclopedia? Chapter 328, Fairy in the Painting 4. Du Zufei couldn't hide his envy of Huan Rao, but then he thought about it and an idea came to his mind. Can you also enter the mobile phone? Huan Rao nodded. Du Zufei chuckled. When you have time, learn my professional knowledge. When the final exam comes, you enter the mobile phone and accompany me to the examination room. I will read out the questions on the test paper, and you write down the answer steps and answers on the mobile phone screen. This way I don't have to worry about failing the exam. Huan Rao frowned. Fei, you are cheating. Du Zufei, this is not a crime. Huan Rao. Okay, I'll do whatever you say. Huan Rao really dotes on Du Zufei. Even if Du Zufei didn't learn much knowledge in college, didn't he have her by his side to help him? Du Zufei rolled his eyes and asked, "Can you also get into other people's computers through the internet?" Huan Rao, you want me to be a hacker? Du Zufei, don't you think being a hacker is cool? If someone offends me in the future, you can hack into that person's computer and help me get revenge. Huan Rao agreed after thinking about it. Du Zufei didn't ask her to kill or set fire, but just hack someone's computer, which was no big deal. So, after this day, everyone who didn't get along with Du Zufei was in trouble. Their computers were hacked, and they had to buy a new computer, wasting money. What was worse was that the data in the computer could not be found. Some people who were writing papers cried while holding their black screen computers. How many days of hard work were gone? Later, more people were hacked, and everyone got together to talk. Well, they all understood that they had conflicts with Du Zufei, and then their computers were hacked. Did this guy know some super powerful hacker boss? Everyone hated Du Zufei, but they didn't dare to confront him anymore, fearing that he would send hackers to harm them again. There was no other way, so they had to accept the defeat. Du Zufei was very proud. At the end of the year, the school held a large dance, and all the students wore beautiful clothes to attend the dance. No one would be absent, which was the tradition of the school. Many boys and girls also wanted to find boyfriends/girlfriends at the dance. When Du Zufei brought Huan Rao to the stage, he shocked all the teachers and students in the school, because Huan Rao was so beautiful. There are many beauties in the school, and there are one or two who are at the same level as Huan Rao in terms of appearance. But Huan Rao's beauty is not only in appearance, but also in her temperament and character. She is pure and charming, like a fairy stained with the world. In addition, Huan Rao wears clothes that best set off her temperament, which makes her even better than all the school beauties on the school beauty list. Du Zufei's goal was achieved. Men were envious, jealous and hateful of him, and women were also envious and ashamed of Huan Rao, with one exception. Su Qingni stood with the senior brother, discussing the data of the experiment. She had been selected as a student by a professor who was optimistic about her, and she would officially report to the professor after passing the postgraduate entrance examination. Now, she has participated in the professor's project team, although she mostly did some miscellaneous work. While chatting, Su Qingni found that the senior brother's eyes were straight, staring in one direction without blinking. Su Qingni was puzzled, and looked in the direction of the senior brother, and saw the beautiful woman who was the focus of everyone's attention. Seeing such a beautiful woman, Su Qingni couldn't help but feel jealous. But after seeing the person next to the woman, the jealousy disappeared in an instant. Su Qingni asked in her mind, "Is that woman an elf?" Su Qingni replied, "Yes. This is an elf in a painting, bred by an ancient painting. It should be a painting of a beauty, so it looks so beautiful." No wonder. After listening to Su Qingni was no longer jealous. She and the other party are not of the same species, so what is there to be jealous of? The other party is an elf, although not an elf in Norse mythology, but also an elf. Elves are the embodiment of beauty in legends. How can they not be beautiful? Su Qingni turned her eyes away indifferently. Since the senior brother was only staring at the beauty and had no intention of discussing the test data with her, she would play a mobile game for a while. Recently, a new card game called Daoyao Please Stay was released, which focuses on Oriental mythology and immortal cultivation. The characters are very cute and interesting. After Du Zufei had enjoyed enough of the envious and jealous eyes of men and women, he began to look for Su Qingni's figure in the field. He was ready to see Su Qingni's unbelievable eyes and inferiority expression. There are so many people in the school that it is difficult to find someone, but Du Zufei was determined to find someone, and he finally found someone. What did he see? Su Qingni was playing with her mobile phone out of boredom, and she didn't even look at him. What does this mean? Does she look down on him? Or does she look down on his daughter Huan Rao? No, it shouldn't be looking down on her, but she is already ashamed of herself and has regretted it, but she is just too proud to admit it, so she puts on such a look. Seeing Yundan Fangking, you must feel very uncomfortable and uncomfortable, right? Thinking of this, Du Zufei calmed down, and with the expectation of slapping his ex-girlfriend in the face, he took Huan Rao's hand and walked towards Su Qingni. He didn't notice that a look of shock and determination was always on Huan Rao. You played with your mobile phone at the dance because no one invited you to dance, right? Du Zufei said in a sympathetic tone. Su Qingni raised her head and said lightly, "It's none of your business." Du Zufei snorted, "I'm concerned about you. After all, we had a good time. My ex-boyfriend has a more beautiful and outstanding girlfriend, but you are alone. Others will laugh at you. You should take advantage of the opportunity to find another one. Although the one you find will definitely not be as handsome as me." Su Qingni also snorted, "Don't forget to flatter yourself. You know what kind of person you are. I'm very good, otherwise I wouldn't have a girlfriend as beautiful as Huan Rao." Du Zufei pulled Huan Rao into his arms, pretending to be intimate for Su Qingni to see. Su Qingni glanced at Huan Rao and said, "Since you are so lucky to have such a beautiful girlfriend, you should hide her and not let too many people see her, so as not to cause trouble to yourself and your girlfriend." Su Qingni was kindly warning Du Zufei and the others. She heard from Su Qingni that there are still some humans in this world who know the existence of elves. They want elves and obtain the power of elves. Chapter 329, Fairy in the Painting 5. Elves are spiritual bodies, and their bodies are made up of spiritual energy. Spiritual energy is extremely beneficial to the human body. Therefore, elves are a great tonic for humans. If you can refine the elves into pills and eat them, you can't say that you can ascend to immortality or live forever, but you can stay young for a long time in life for more than 100 or 200 years. In the records of this world, there are records of elves being captured by humans for medicine. Those records have not been lost. Some people still have these records in their hands. There are also some practitioners with bad intentions who want to find elves and use them to improve their own cultivation. Su Qingni told Su Qingni about this. Su Qingni saw that the elf in front of her had clear eyes. Thinking that this elf had just been born not long ago, it was as pure as a child. It was a pity that it followed a guy like Du Zufei. Out of sympathy, she warned the two. However, it was obvious that his kindness was taken for granted. Du Zufei snorted, "You are just jealous, right? You are jealous that my Huan Rao is beautiful and is the focus of everyone's attention wherever she goes." Huan Rao also likes what Du Zufei likes and dislikes what Du Zufei dislikes. She did not have a good impression of Su Qingni, and the expression on her face showed it. Su Qingni snorted coldly. Since she didn't listen to her advice, she was too lazy to say anything. When someone really wants to catch the elves, they will know how stupid it is to be so high profile now. Su Qingni turned around and walked away from the two people, not wanting to watch Du Zufei showing off and trying to step on her stupid appearance. Du Zufei thought this was Su Qingni running away, and he felt even more proud and laughed. Huan Rao looked at Su Qingni's back, her pretty face twisted. "Fei, were you a couple with her before?" "Yes." Du Zufei felt better when he saw Huan Rao's expression. You are jealous." Huan Rao did not deny it and nodded. "I don't like her." Du Zufei said, "I don't like her either." "You lied to me." Huan Rao accused, "If you don't like her, how could you be her boyfriend or girlfriend? Isn't it because we are from the same hometown and classmates, and we feel that we are destined to be together?" Du Zufei hurriedly explained to Huan Rao, "I really didn't get together with her because I like her. And the most hateful thing is that she actually despised me and kicked me out. How can this woman be so bad?" Huan Rao had an even worse impression of Su Qingni, and she had an idea to punish Su Qingni. At this dance, Huan Rao and Du Zufei stole the show. The men all wanted to ask Huan Rao to dance, but all of them were rejected by Huan Rao. Huan Rao only danced with Du Zufei and was completely devoted to him, which made the men jealous and almost tortured Du Zufei with their eyes. Du Zufei enjoyed this kind of look very much. He did not notice that there was a look in those eyes that almost dissected him thoroughly. Su Qingni was not bored at the dance. Several boys invited her to dance. One of them was her classmate. He looked good and his family situation was also good. Su Qingni was sharp-eyed and could see the affection in the boy's eyes for Su Qingni, but Su Qingni's mind was all focused on studying and she did not notice that there was such a secret admirer around her. It was already 12:30 when the dance ended. Su Qingni followed several classmates who rented houses outside the school out of the school gate. The public security near the school is guaranteed. Although it was very late, the school arranged security personnel to patrol the area outside the school so that students living outside the school could return to their residences safely. Su Qingni was very sleepy, so she took a quick shower and went to bed to sleep. A few minutes later, the person on the bed sat up, and now the person who controlled this body had changed to Su Qingni. Su Qingni walked to the computer desk and turned on Su Qingni's computer. After going online, Su Qingni collected those strange things that could not be explained by science. These things may be false, but they may also be true. Su Qingni has to judge the authenticity from these messages, and then judge whether there is an extremely yin place based on the real information. Su Qingni is now a student, and a student who has joined the project team to earn performance. It is impossible for her to leave school and walk around to help Su Qingni find the extremely yin place. She can only collect information from the internet to see if she can find the extremely yin place. If she really finds it, she will let Su Qingni go there in person. If she can't find it, she can only wait until Su Qingni has winter vacation, and then borrow Su Qingni's body for a few days to find the extremely yin place. While browsing the internet, Su Qingni suddenly felt that there was a problem with the computer in front of her. Having been a hacker in many other worlds, Su Qingni immediately determined that an uninvited guest had entered the computer. She quickly used her hacker knowledge to deal with the intruder. However, the intruder was very powerful, and the codes of ordinary programs were useless to him. The intruder was very smart and felt like a real person. Su Qingni's heart moved, and she released her spiritual consciousness to enter the computer. Sure enough, what she saw was not some code, but a beautiful woman running around in the network, trying to break the firewall she had just set up and enter Su Qingni's computer. Huan Rao. Su Qingni called out lightly. Huan Rao was startled when she heard the call. Who was calling her? She quickly looked up, but saw a young woman standing not far in front of her staring at her. Who are you? Huan Rao was terrified. In addition to herself, there were actually other people who could enter the online world. Question mark. Don't worry about who I am. Leave now, don't try to attack Su Qingni's computer, and don't target Su Qingni anymore. Otherwise, I won't be polite to you. Su Qingni said lightly. Although Huan Rao was frightened, she was not so easy to retreat. So what if the other party can also enter the network? She is an elf with magic power, how can she be afraid of the other party? Huan Rao snorted lightly. I won't leave, why are you rude to me? Does this elf think that he is not immortal, so he is the boss? Su Qingni couldn't help shaking her head with amusement. She was too lazy to say more, and the elf in front of her didn't believe it, so she simply used actual actions to scare Huan Rao. She waved her right hand, and Huan Rao felt a whirlwind blowing her up and blowing her away. No matter how she used her magic power, she couldn't get rid of the whirlwind. The whirlwind blew her around and she quickly left Su Qingni's computer. The code on the network flowed quickly in front of her eyes. When the whirlwind stopped and the code was gone, she found herself dizzy and sitting on the floor of Du Zufei's house. The screen of the laptop in front of her was flickering with a faint light. Huan Rao was really scared this time. Chapter 330, Fairy in the Painting VI. Huan Rao was really frightened this time. That woman was much stronger than her. If she had any ill intentions towards her, she would have vanished by now. Huan Rao was sweating profusely, staring at the computer in horror. She would never dare to provoke Su Qingni again. She would never be as reckless as she is now. In this world, she was not the only one with extraordinary powers, there were other more powerful and terrifying beings. She couldn't help but think of what Su Qingni said to her and Du Zufei at the dance. It turned out that she was kind and they had misunderstood her. Huan Rao, what's wrong with you? Du Zufei, who was awakened, saw Huan Rao sitting on the ground, and hurried over to help Huan Rao up. Nothing. Out of a woman's careful thoughts, Huan Rao did not tell Du Zufei what had just happened. It's so late, stop playing on the computer and go to bed. Du Zufei yawned and said, so sleepy. Huan Rao responded and flew back to her bedroom. She felt uncomfortable and needed to be quiet. After that, Huan Rao kept a low profile. Du Zufei wanted to take Huan Rao out to show off, but was rejected by Huan Rao. Du Zufei didn't understand and asked Huan Rao the reason. Huan Rao omitted what happened that night and didn't say that she met the master because she went to cause trouble for Su Qingni. Du Zufei was also shocked, and was glad that the master had no ill intentions, otherwise he would not have such a beautiful wife. Du Zufei hugged Huan Rao with lingering fear. He has fallen in love with Huan Rao now and doesn't want Huan Rao to be in any danger. Don't run into the internet again in the future. Du Zufei warned Huan Rao. Huan Rao said, but my file has not been processed yet. Although Du Zufei spent money to get Huan Rao an ID card, other files cannot be handled with money. With such a big loophole, other people can find out that there is something wrong with Huan Rao. After knowing Huan Rao's ability, Du Zufei asked Huan Riao to go to the database of the Personnel Bureau, elementary school, junior high school, etc. through the internet to add her name and related information. However, this matter cannot be done all at once. It takes time. Now it is only half done. If it is not handled well, it is not handled well. No one should check you for no reason. Du Zufei said, your safety is the most important. Fei. Huan Riao was moved and fell into the arms of the two people. Just when the two people were close to each other, the information about the two of them was sent to someone. Mr. Zhu, the information about Du Zufei is very detailed. He is just an ordinary person. But this person named Huan Riao seems to have appeared out of thin air. There is very little information about her in the past, only the confidence of an elementary school student. Our people went to the elementary school in the information to investigate, and there is no such person. The young man called Mr. Zhu raised his mouth. It's strange that you can investigate her information. Haha, it's really rare. I actually met a beautiful elf. Mr. Zhu asked his men to retreat. He picked up the investigation information of Huan Riao, went upstairs, and came to the outside of a room. Mr. Zhu knocked on the door of the room, and an old voice came from inside. Come in. Mr. Zhu pushed the door open and walked into the room. The room is very large and decorated in a very classical style. The furniture in the room is all made of red wing wood, and the style is very old. There are a row of antiques on the shelf. They are all real antiques, without fakes or high imitations. Next to the shelf is a bookshelf, which is full of thread-bound books. The value of these books is higher than the antiques on the shelf. There was a large empty space in the middle of the room, with a cushion in the middle. An old man with completely white hair was sitting cross-legged on the cushion in meditation. When Zhu Xiao entered the room, he opened his eyes. Zhu Xiao walked to the old man and knelt down, holding the information in his hands to the old man with both hands. Master, please look at this woman. The old man took the information and read it quickly. At first, his expression was very casual, but as he read, his expression changed. After reading the information, the old man stared at the photo of Huan Riao for a long time, and the intensity of his gaze was so intense that it almost burned 2 holes in the photo. After a long while, the old man asked, have you confirmed it? Zhu Xiao nodded, I have seen this woman with my own eyes. Although I was far away, I still felt a spiritual energy emanating from her. The old man laughed when he heard this. Good, God is still kind to me, an old man, and let me meet an elf before my life is over. After laughing, the old man looked at Zhu Xiao, no matter what method you use, you must catch that elf. Zhu Xiao nodded and said, it's just that the elf has extraordinary power. I'm afraid I can't catch her with ordinary means. The old man said, it's easy. Our ancestors left us several magic weapons for catching elves. You take them all. Yes. Zhu Xiao agreed happily. Walking out of the old man's room, Zhu Xiao held several seemingly insignificant items in his hands. But Zhu Xiao cherished these things very much and held them carefully. These are treasures. The next day, Zhu Xiao appeared in the classroom of Du Zufei's professional course. Although he could cheat in the exams with Huan Riao, he had to attend roll call for professional courses. If he didn't attend class, his final grade would be deducted based on his usual performance. Du Zufei had to come to class, so Huan Riao naturally accompanied him to class. Huan Riao restrained her temperament and changed her clothes into ones that didn't show her figure. She still looked very beautiful, but not as glamorous and charming as she was on the day of the dance. Men no longer stared at her and drooled at her. Although the boys still secretly glanced at Huan Riao, and although they were still envious and jealous of Du Zufei, they had restrained themselves. Zhu Xiao walked to the row in front of where Du Zufei and Huan Riao were sitting, turned his head, and smiled at Huan Riao. Hello, beautiful lady. May I have the honor to call you friends? Let me introduce myself. My name is Zhu Liu, and Zhu Group is owned by my family. You don't have the honor. Du Zufei said coldly. Who does this pretty boy think he is? He actually wanted to seduce his girlfriend in front of him. Is it great to be a small boss of a group? Is it great to be rich? I have never lacked money since I was a child, and my own daughter Huan Riao can also make money. If she follows me to the antique market and picks up a few bargains, she can buy good antiques at a low price, and then resell them to make dozens of times the difference. Zhu Liu looked at Du Zufei, but he was not angry as Du Zufei thought. Instead, he smiled and stretched out his right hand to Du Zufei. Hello, can we be friends? Du Zufei, no. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331 The Immortal Seven in the Painting. If Du Zufei said no, would Zhu Leiyu listen to him? Zhu Leiyu approached the two in order to gain their favor, so as to find an opportunity to lure Huan Rao into a trap. Therefore, no matter how bad Du Zufei's attitude was, Zhu Leiyu smiled. At first, Du Zufei felt that Zhu Leiyu had evil intentions and couldn't stand him. But after a long time, he found that Zhu Leiyu was really making friends with him, not trying to steal his corner and pursue Huan Rao. Du Zufei's attitude towards Zhu Leiyu also softened a bit. Zhu Leiyu was very dissatisfied with the current progress. He approached the two in order to gain Huan Rao's favor, so that Huan Rao would be willing to follow him and enter the trap he prepared for Huan Rao. But he didn't expect that Huan Rao and Du Zufei had such a close relationship. No matter where they went, the two were together like conjoined twins, making his plan impossible to carry out. It's not impossible to trap the two together. But the trap is only effective for elves, not humans. If Du Zufei and Huan Rao enter the trap together, they may escape with Huan Rao. As long as they get out of the trap, Huan Rao can use her ability as an elf, but human means will be useless. On the contrary, Huan Rao's magic power will cause them a lot of trouble and even cause damage. Zhu Leiyu was thinking, how to alienate the relationship between these two people and separate them? Zhu Leiyu thought of Du Zufei's ex-girlfriend. Perhaps, he could ask this ex-girlfriend for help. So, when Su Qingni came out of the laboratory that day, she was stopped by a man. Su Qingni, my name is Zhu Leiyu, and I am Du Zufei's friend. What does Du Zufei's friend want to see me for? Du Zufei and I have broken up. Su Qingni walked around Zhu Leiyu and left without giving Zhu Leiyu face. Zhu Leiyu felt depressed. With his appearance and family background, many women pursued and seduced him, wanting to be his girlfriend. As a result, the two women he met during this period did not take him seriously, which damaged his face. Humph, Huan Rao and this Su Qingni, these two women, he will not let them have an easy life. Even if you broke up, you are still from the same hometown, right? There is always a friendship, right? Can you bear to see him fall into danger, or even lose his life? Zhu Leiyu turned around and caught up with Su Qingni, and said to her, then don't exaggerate. Su Qingni said coldly, now it is a society ruled by law, what danger will Du Zufei be in? Zhu Leiyu lowered his voice and said in Su Qingni's ear, Student Su, you don't understand this world. This world is a world of science and technology on the surface, but in fact there are many incredible powers and existences. Those existences are not human, they have extraordinary powers, and if they want to maintain their power, they need to obtain it from people. Su Qingni raised her eyebrows, she understood now. This Zhu Leiyu is not an ordinary person, he should know that Huan Rao is an elf. Zhu Leiyu continued in Su Qingni's ear, have you read ghost stories? In the stories, female ghosts seduced men and absorbed the yang energy from men to practice, and when the men's yang energy was sucked away, they would naturally die. Now, there is such a female ghost around Du Zufei. The one named Huan Rao. She is not human. Su Qingni, it's none of my business. Zhu Leiyu had a lot more to say, but he was stuck in his throat by Su Qingni's it's none of my business. He couldn't spit it out or swallow it, and he felt very uncomfortable. You really don't care about Du Zufei's life? Du Zufei and I have nothing to do with each other anymore. Whether he lives or dies, what does it have to do with me? Moreover, if that Huan Rao is really a female ghost, she has been with Du Zufei for so long, she must have sucked all of Du Zufei's yang qi long ago, right? Even if Du Zufei didn't, his health would definitely be very poor. But the reality is that Du Zufei is rosy all day long, in good health, and eats delicious food. There is no sign that his yang qi has been sucked by the female ghost. Su Qingni gave Zhu Leiyu a look that said be sure to see the truth before lying, full of contempt. Zhu Leiyu inhaled and exhaled, and finally calmed down a little. Huan Rao is just a female ghost-like existence. She is not a female ghost, and she does not need to absorb Du Zufei's yang qi. What she wants is Du Zufei's life. Zhu Leiyu didn't know how to make up a story. Suddenly, He saw a spider web on the tree trunk among the flowers. A spider was lying on it, quietly waiting for its prey. Zhu Leiyu quickly said, "She has the same habits as a female spider. She came to humans to find a man to give birth to a child. When she has a child in her belly, she eats the child's father, just like a female spider eats the male spider after mating with a male spider." Zhu Leiyu kept talking bad about Huan Rao in Su Qingni's ear, persuading her to save Du Zufei. Su Qingni understood why Su Qingni became a cannon fodder. If she hadn't possessed Su Qingni and told her about the elves, Su Qingni might have been persuaded by Zhu Leiyu to go find Du Zufei, destroy the relationship between Du Zufei and Huan Rao, be hated by the male and female protagonists, and eventually be cannon fodder. Now that Su Qingni knows that Huan Rao is an elf, she naturally knows that Zhu Leiyu is not a good person, and it is not for the good of Du Zufei, a friend. How could she be persuaded by Zhu Leiyu to destroy the relationship between Du Zufei and Huan Rao? "Student Zhu, do you know what my major is?" Su Qingni interrupted Zhu Leiyu. Zhu Leiyu was stunned and replied, "Applied physics." Su Qingni smiled faintly, "Yes, physics. I study the nature of matter, which is basic science. Do you think I believe in metaphysics?" "Student Zhu, if you have a big imagination, you can write a novel." After that, she sped up, came to a shared bicycle, scanned the code, and rode away on the bicycle. Zhu Leiyu gritted his teeth and said, "Su Qingni, you wait. I will deal with you after I deal with Huan Rao." Su Qingni did not hear what Zhu Leiyu said. While riding her bike, she asked Su Qingni in her mind, "Is this Zhu Leiyu a cultivator?" Su Qingni confirmed Su Qingni's guess, "Yes, he is a cultivator. But his realm is very low. This is also normal. Your world is already in the Dharma ending age. The spiritual energy in the air is very scarce. It is very difficult for humans to practice. That's why some practitioners want to capture elves for medicine to help them practice." Su Qingni asked again, "How could elves be born when the spiritual energy in the world is so scarce? Originally, they could not be born again." Su Qingni replied, "The birth of Huan Rao is a coincidence and a necessity." Chapter 332, Immortal 8 in the painting. Su Qingni explained to Su Qingni, "Huan Rao is an elf from an ancient painting. She has a history of thousands of years and has absorbed thousands of years of spiritual energy. With the addition of Du Zufei's blood, she was born by chance. The most important thing is that the two of them are the male and female protagonists, and are the destined people of the world." Su Qingni said silently in her heart, without saying this sentence out loud. "You see, apart from Huan Rao, there is no trace of other elves in this world." Su Qingni said, "Those elves that were born a long time ago have already hidden or fallen asleep, and in the past 100 years, only Huan Rao has been born. Then Zhu Leiyu is determined to get to Huan Rao." Su Qingni said, "Will Du Zufei be in danger?" Although she told Zhu Leiyu that she had nothing to do with Du Zufei and would not care about Du Zufei's affairs, the little girl was kind-hearted and did not want such an acquaintance to get into trouble. "Of course there will be danger. But with Huan Rao by his side, he will surely be safe." Su Qingni said, "Huan Rao has magical powers." Su Qingni felt relieved after hearing that. Yes, Huan Rao knows magic, and Zhu Leiyu is just a cultivator with low cultivation. He can't cause much harm to Huan Rao, and that person will not be in too much danger. However, Su Qingni misjudged a little. Although Huan Rao is stronger than Zhu Leiyu and his master, in terms of calculating people's hearts and conspiracies, Huan Rao is just a newly born elf, and Du Zufei is just a student who grew up in an ivory tower. He can't outsmart the cunning cultivator and Zhu Leiyu who grew up in an environment of intrigue. Unable to persuade Su Qingni to help, Zhu Leiyu found a girl who had a crush on Du Zufei and told the girl what he said to Su Qingni. The girl believed Zhu Leiyu at once, mainly because she was very jealous of Huan Rao's beauty. Zhu Leiyu said that Huan Rao was not a human being, and the girl was relieved. She said that Huan Rao's beauty was not something that humans could have. Only ghosts and goblins could have such a look, which made it convenient for them to seduce men and harm men. She felt that she was an angel who saved Du Zufei, and ran to Du Zufei every day to pester him. The girl was pretty good looking. Even though Du Zufei really loved Huan Rao now, he was very proud of having such a beautiful girl who liked to pester him, so he naturally would not use rough means to drive the girl away. This made Huan Rao jealous and unhappy. Zhu Leiyu took advantage of the situation and said that he took Huan Rao to relax, led her into a trap, and caught her. Huanryo didn't go home for a day, and Du Zufei began to worry. After 2 or 3 days, Du Zufei was already crazy, and he looked for Huanryo everywhere, but how could he find her? It was only after the girl who was pestering him let the cat out of the bag that Du Zufei realized that Huanryo was most likely captured by Zuleiyu. Du Zufei ran to Zuleiyu to ask for her, but Zuleiyu naturally denied it and had Du Zufei beaten up. He had already captured Huanryo, so how could he play the game of good friends and good brothers with Du Zufei? Du Zufei naturally would not give up. He secretly stayed near Zuleiyu and followed him. Perhaps it was God's protection for the male protagonist, or perhaps the villain's plan was bound to fail. Du Zufei actually followed Zuleiyu to the place where they imprisoned Huanryo, and found Huanryo without anyone noticing, and rescued Huanryo. However, the two were also discovered by Zuleiyu's people, and Zuleiyu's master personally came out to capture the two. Huanryo was seriously injured by the magic weapon left by Zuleiyu's master in the trap. She could not exert 2 levels of magic power and was no match for Zuleiyu's master. The two escaped in a very thrilling way. They were caught up by Zuleiyu's master several times and were almost caught by him. Every time, Huanryo ignored her injuries and used powerful spells to temporarily repel Zuleiyu's master, so that she could escape. And every time she used powerful spells, Huanryo's injuries would become more serious. This time, Huanryo immediately spit out a large mouthful of blood after using the spell, and she had no more strength to use spells. Although they once again got rid of Zuleiyu's master's pursuit, if Zuleiyu's master caught up with them again, they could only let themselves be caught. Du Zufei ran hard with Huanryo in his arms. He was very confused and didn't know where to run. He was already desperate. Huanryo said hard, "Go find Su Qingni." "What?" Du Zufei didn't hear clearly. "Go find Su Qingni." Huanryo used up her last bit of strength and shouted loudly. Of course, she thought she was loud only in her own opinion. Du Zufei heard that her voice was very weak and light, but he could barely hear the name Huanryo called out. Why go find Su Qingni? Du Zufei was puzzled. What kind of operation is it to take your current girlfriend to ask your ex-girlfriend for help? Because Su Qingni has a master beside her and has no ill will towards her, if they go to her house for help, maybe that master will help them. But there is also a great possibility that he will not help them. After all, that master does not seem to like trouble. But now there is no way. If they don't go to that master, they will be caught by Zuleiyu's master and they will die, and if they go to that master, there is at least a little hope of survival. Huanryo thought so, but she no longer had the strength to say it. Du Zufei didn't know why Huanryo asked him to find Su Qingni, but the situation was so critical that he couldn't think too much. He turned and ran towards the small house rented by Su Qingni. The house that Su Qingni rented was in the same residential area as the one that Du Zufei rented. He was very familiar with the place and quickly ran to the downstairs of Su Qingni's house. At this time, Su Qingni had already gone to bed and rested. It was already very late, and it was already past 12 o'clock. Du Zufei took advantage of the time when Zuleiyu's men were asleep to rescue Huanryo. Adding the time of pursuit in between, it was now around 3 o'clock in the morning. Su Qingni was in control of the body. Su Qingni was checking the news on the internet. Suddenly, she stood up, walked to the window, and looked downstairs. At a glance, she saw the embarrassed Du Zufei and Huanryo. Su Qingni frowned. These two brought trouble to her and Su Qingni. She knew it was Huanryo's idea. This girl wanted her, a master, to help them get through the crisis. How annoying. Although Su Qingni was unhappy, she still decided to save the two. After all, these two people are truly innocent, and the people who want to capture Huanryo have bad intentions and violate the rules of heaven. Even if I don't take action to deal with them, heaven will not allow these people to jump around for too long. If I do it myself, I can also gain the gratitude of this world. Chapter 333, Immortal 9 in the painting. Su Qingni sat back in front of the computer and used hacking techniques to block all the surveillance cameras in the community. She also cleared the traces of Du Zufei and Huanryo along the way and helped them clean up the mess to prevent others from noticing them and then following the clues to find Su Qingni. It took Su Qingni only a few minutes to do all this, and Du Zufei just ran from the first two gatehouses to the bottom of Su Qingni's gatehouse. Su Qingni came to the window, opened the window, and jumped out of the window, landing right in front of Du Zufei and Huanryo. You jumped down from the upstairs." Du Zufei was frightened. Damn it. Could it be that Su Qingni is good at Qinggong? I was actually wrong about her. This girl is not an ordinary person. No wonder Huan Rao asked me to come to her. Huan Rao must have seen that this girl is not simple, right? Humph, no wonder she wants to kick me. She thinks that an ordinary person like me is not worthy of her. What kind of person is he? He is not as good as his Huan Rao. His Huan Rao is also capable and does not look down on him. Du Zufei complained in his heart, but did not dare to show it. He just shouted to Su Qingni, Su Qingni, for the sake of being from the same hometown, please help us. Su Qingni snorted, you have brought trouble to my doorstep, I have to help you. After a while, Huan Rao recovered a little strength and begged, classmate Su, we don't want to cause trouble to you, but it's a matter of life and death. We really have no choice but to ask you for help. Please save us for the sake of Afei being your boyfriend. Well, if you save us, I can withdraw and return Afei to you. Huan Rao shed tears as she spoke, looking extremely painful and reluctant. Du Zufei shouted directly, no, you can't quit. I love you, only you. Without you, my heart is gone. I will never fall in love with anyone else. Don't leave me. Huan Rao burst into tears, Afei. Du Zufei hugged Huan Rao tightly, Arao. Su Qingni had black lines on her forehead and shouted, okay, stop acting like a certain grandma. She said to Huan Rao, I don't care about this man. I kicked him away on my own initiative. Now I don't have the hobby of recycling second-hand goods. Second-hand goods. Du Zufei gritted his teeth in anger, I don't care about you either. Huan Rao was extremely worried. Su Qingni didn't like Du Zufei, so could she help them and save their lives? Su Qingni saw Huan Rao's worry and said, don't worry, since you have come to me, I will not watch you die. As soon as the voice fell, Zhu Lei's master had already caught up with him, followed by Zhu Leiyu and his men. They drove after Zhu Lei's master. Seeing Su Qingni, Zhu Leiyu was stunned for a moment and then didn't care. She was just an ordinary woman, and he handed her to his apprentice Zhu Lei's men to deal with. You can't escape now. Master Zhu Leiyu smiled proudly, that elf can no longer use magic, right? Du Zufei didn't answer, but hugged Huan Rao tightly, and ran behind Su Qingni and hid. Su Qingni. With his wretched look, only Huan Rao, a blind elf, would like him. Master Zhu Leiyu looked down on Su Qingni, and since Huan Rao had lost her resistance, he did not take action, but only ordered Zhu Leiyu's men, go and capture that elf, and deal with the other two. Zhu Leiyu's men walked towards the three people. Du Zufei was so scared that he shouted to Su Qingni, what skills do you have? Hurry up and use them. If you don't use them, we'll all be finished. Su Qingni, shut up. Because there are elves like Huan Rao in this world, she can use a small part of her ability, including magic power and martial arts. Facing so many people surrounding and killing her, some of whom are carrying hot weapons, using magic is the best way to deal with it. Su Qingni cast a spell, and all of Zhu Leiyu's men fell. Master Zhu Leiyu and Zhu Leiyu both widened their eyes. They didn't expect that the ordinary woman they thought could cast spells. It turns out that classmate Su is also a fellow practitioner. I actually misjudged you. Zhu Leiyu was shocked and angry in his heart, and said to Su Qingni with a fake smile, classmate Su said that he believed in science, but it turned out that he was fooling me. I guess classmate Su has discovered Huan Rao's identity a long time ago, and wants to get this elf alone, right? Su Qingni snorted coldly, don't think of me as the same as you. Although Master Zhu Leiyu was shocked by Su Qingni's powerful strength, because Su Qingni only used 1/5 of the power that this world can use, Master Zhu Leiyu thought that Su Qingni's strength would not be stronger than his own, so he threatened arrogantly, little girl, if you voluntarily withdraw, I can let you go. But if you insist on intervening in this matter, I will not show mercy to you, and I will make you wish you were dead. Su Qingni sneered, do you have this ability? Zhu Leiyu's master was angry and dared to question his ability. Junior, I will let you see whether I have this ability. After that, he attacked Su Qingni. Su Qingni easily blocked the attack of Master Zhu Leiyu. Master Zhu Leiyu was shocked. This time he knew that the girl in front of him was stronger than he thought, at least stronger than himself. After reaching this conclusion, Master Zhu Leiyu quickly stopped attacking and used a gentle strategy to bribe Su Qingni. My fellow Taoist, my ancestors have inherited a method of using spirits to refine elixirs that increase cultivation. If you give this spirit to me, I can guarantee that I will give you one when I refine the elixir. Master Zhu Laiyu tempted her with benefits. Judging from your clothes, your life now is just ordinary, right? My apprentice is the richest man in the city. I can ask him to pay you a large sum of cash to improve your current life. Hearing this, Du Zufei took several steps back holding Huan Rao, and kept a distance from Su Qingni. He looked at Su Qingni with a wary look, and regarded Su Qingni as an enemy. Su Qingni the two of them were against Zhu Laiyu and his apprentice, and also against Du Zufei. Instead, Huan Rao pulled Du Zufei's clothes and said to him, "You have to believe in classmate Su, she has no ill will towards us." Su Qingni glanced at Huan Rao and felt that it was worth saving this girl. Su Qingni turned to Zhu Laiyu and his apprentice. Do you know that elves are the darlings of heaven and earth? Using elves to refine medicine will be hated by heaven. Even if you can improve your cultivation in a short period of time, you will not be able to do well in the future. You are likely to become possessed by fire and even lose your life during cultivation. Chapter 334, Immortal and Painting 10. Don't be alarmist. Zhu Laiyu's master shouted. In fact, he knew that what Su Qingni said should be right, but his lifespan was almost over, and he was unwilling to die. The spirits were his hope. In order to prolong his life, even if there were side effects as Su Qingni said, he had to use spirits to make medicine. Whether it is alarmist or not, you know it in your heart. Su Qingni saw through Zhu Laiyu's master's thoughts and turned to Zhu Laiyu. What about you? Your master wants to make spirits because his lifespan is too short. You are so young, do you really want to be rejected by the heavens and enter the 18 levels of hell after death? Zhu Laiyu took 2 steps back. Although eating spirits can increase lifespan and keep young, the increase in lifespan is not infinite, and there will be a day when you will die. If you are really thrown into the 18 levels of hell after death, then this business will be a bit of a loss. In addition, if you are rejected by the heavens, you will become unlucky and everything will go wrong. That would be even more of a loss. Su Qingni smiled and said to Master Zhu Laiyu, "Look, your apprentice is unwilling to catch elves, so you should give up too. If you die like this, you can still have a chance to reincarnate. But if you really eat the elves, you won't even have the chance to reincarnate." Master Zhu Laiyu hesitated for a moment, but when his eyes touched Huan Rao, he threw away that hesitation. Is what Su Qingni said necessarily true? Who knows what will happen after his death? Compared with the ethereal afterlife and the so-called heavens discussed, the ability to increase life in front of us is more important. Laiyu, don't believe this woman. She lied to us. Let's go together and kill her first. Master Zhu Laiyu shouted, when I use the elves to refine the elixir, I will give you 2. Zhu Laiyu knew from the information handed down by the master that using elves to refine medicine, at most 5 elixirs can be refined. The master gave him 2, which was also a big loss. Originally, he was only going to give him 1. Tempted by the benefits, and because Su Qingni's words could not be confirmed to be true or made up by her to scare people, Zhu Laiyu chose to believe his master and cooperated with his master to attack Su Qingni. Su Qingni snorted lightly, "You are overestimating your own abilities." This time she did not hold back and easily knocked down both Zhu Laiyu and his master. Su Qingni walked to the 2 people and squatted down, pressing her hands on their foreheads, casting a spell to erase everything about the elves in their heads. Zhu Laiyu has good qualifications. If he can practice honestly, his future achievements will be higher than his master. So Su Qingni left a little hint and restriction in his mind, so that he would be pure in the future, not relying on his handsome appearance and rich family to harm girls, and become a monk to practice well. Su Qingni walked to Zhu Laiyu's men again and erased their memories of the elf Huan Rao one by one. After doing all this, Su Qingni turned and looked at Du Zufei and the others. Du Zufei was so scared that he took several steps back while holding Huan Rao. "Tisk." Su Qingni said disdainfully, "I have a lover who won't catch you, what are you afraid of?" I'm not afraid." Du Zufei straightened his chest and said in a cowardly manner. Su Qingni snorted and didn't want to pay attention to him anymore. She turned around and went back to Su Qingni's room. She still had to continue looking for information on the internet. "That?" Du Zufei quickly called Su Qingni. Su Qingni stopped. "What? Do you have something else to do?" Du Zufei gritted his teeth, ran to Su Qingni and begged, "You are so capable, can you help Huan Rao? She is seriously injured, can you help her heal her injuries?" Su Qingni said, "No." Du Zufei said angrily, "Why are you so ruthless and indifferent?" Su Qingni said with a sour smile, Did you watch the grandma drama yesterday? If I were ruthless and indifferent, I could save you from Zuleiyu. Du Zufei was stuck, and after a while, he said, then why don't you help Huanreo heal her injuries? Are you jealous that she is my girlfriend? Su Qingni snorted, how shameless do you think you are? Would I be jealous of the current girlfriend of my ex-boyfriend who was kicked by me? Du Zufei insisted, then help Huanreo heal. Su Qingni said, she is an elf, she can recover by herself without my treatment. Du Zufei, it has been so long, and Huanreo's injuries have not changed at all. How can she recover by herself? Are you lying to me? Su Qingni said, what good will it bring to you if I lie to you? Your lover is a spirit, and a spirit can recover automatically as long as it absorbs spiritual energy. It's just that there is too little spiritual energy in the air now, so her recovery speed is unusually slow. If you want her to get better faster, then find more antiques and jadeite and let her absorb the spiritual energy in them. Antiques and jadeite? I see, thank you very much. Du Zufei thanked Su Qingni, hugged Huanreo and ran away, heading towards his home. He still had a lot of antiques and jadeite in his house that he and Huanreo bought home by picking up bargains and gambling on stones. He only sold a small part of it for money, and kept a large part at home. Su Qingni saw that they ran away, stepped on the ground, jumped nearly 20 meters high, landed outside the windowsill of Su Qingni's room, and climbed over the wall of the room. After closing the window, Su Qingni sat back at the computer desk and continued to check information. The next day, Su Qingni woke up and felt extremely sore. She asked Su Qingni, what did you do with my body last night? Su Qingni said casually, nothing, I just used your body to cast a few spells, defeated some practitioners, and saved Du Zufei and Huanreo. Su Qingni is just an ordinary person, and her body has never been cultivated. Su Qingni used her body to cast spells, so there will naturally be sequelae. Is it Zuleiyu? Su Qingni asked. Yes. Su Qingni nodded. Su Qingni asked again, will it cause me trouble? Su Qingni, don't worry, I have solved it. Zuleiyu and his people have forgotten the identity of Huanreo's elves, and will not cause trouble for Huanreo and Du Zufei, let alone you. Su Qingni was relieved and dragged her sore body into the bathroom to wash up. It's so sore and painful, it feels so uncomfortable. Su Qingni complained, do you have any way to help me get rid of these pains? Yes. Su Qingni said. Su Qingni, then help me quickly. Su Qingni chuckled, I can't help you, only you can help yourself. Su Qingni, what do you mean? Su Qingni, if you work hard to exercise and your body's ability to withstand stress is improved, the after effects of my spell on your body won't be so obvious, and you won't feel so much pain. Su Qingni. Chapter 335, Fairy in the Painting's Eye. Su Qingni finally started to exercise. After all, there are many hidden unnatural forces in this world. Who knows what will happen if Su Qingni uses her body to do something. Su Qingni taught Su Qingni the method of body training. Su Qingni is a serious girl. She will go all out in everything she does, including body training. Although she was a homebody who didn't like sports before, she never thought of giving up after she started body training. Even though it was very painful to stretch her muscles and bones at the beginning of body training, the girl gritted her teeth and persisted. The rewards are naturally great. The body training technique provided by Su Qingni is very good, which is stronger than the native cultivation spells in this world. Su Qingni entered the Tao with physical training. Not only will her fighting strength be strong, but her vitality and lifespan will also gradually increase with practice. As long as Su Qingni doesn't give up, she may live for 200 or 300 years like other cultivators in this world. Du Zufei and Huanreo came to the school a month later to thank Su Qingni again. This should be Huanreo's suggestion. Huanreo's injuries have all healed, but this time the injury consumed too much of her vitality. Her face is very pale, without much blood color, and the whole person looks like Lin Daiyu. It is said that the two of them go to the antique market whenever they have time, probably to find spiritual energy, antiques and jadeite to replenish Huanreo's spiritual energy. The young couple invited Su Qingni to have a meal, and Huanreo took out 2 antiques to thank Su Qingni. Although the spiritual energy in the antiques was absorbed by Huanreo, antiques are still antiques and can be exchanged for a lot of money. Su Qingni did not delay and accepted the antiques. After all, Su Qingni used her body to save the two. It's a great favor. Even if it makes up for more than a week of back pain, this antique must be accepted. After graduation, Du Zufei and Huanreo got married. Su Qingni went to their wedding. After that, Su Qingni went to a remote mountainous area according to Su Qingni's instructions, and found the extremely yin place there. Su Qingni buried the netherworld stone in the extremely yin place. Su Qingni saw that it was difficult for children in the mountainous areas to go to school. Because of the transportation problem, the life of the people in the mountains was not very good. She sold the 2 antiques that Huanreo gave her as a thank you gift, and exchanged a large sum of money to help build roads in the mountainous areas, and built a whole primary school halfway up the mountain. Children from nearby mountain villages can all come to this primary school to go to school. Su Qingni did not return to school immediately, but told her tutor about the situation here. The tutor sympathized with Su Qingni and helped her retain her graduate student status. Su Qingni worked as a primary school teacher here for a year before returning to school and continuing to study with her tutor. Su Qingni was still in Su Qingni's body and did not choose to return to her own body to sleep. She taught Su Qingni the more advanced physics-related knowledge she had learned in other worlds bit by bit. After Su Qingni learned more advanced knowledge, she promoted it in this world. Because of this knowledge, the whole world has made a lot of technological progress, and the development of the whole society has advanced at least 200 years. 10 years later, this world can already go out of the Earth to explore space. And Su Qingni finally met a like-minded person and married that person. After Su Qingni attended the wedding of 2 people, she left Su Qingni's body before the wedding night and returned to her original body. At this time, the underworld was finally connected to this world, and Su Qingni could return to the Lich world. However, she did not leave immediately, but went to see Du Zufei and Huanreo. Huanreo gave birth to Du Zufei's child, and her body changed as a result. She was no longer a spirit body, but a human, and her magic faded. But Huanreo didn't care much. She had a husband who loved her and a lovely son and daughter, and she felt very happy. It's a pity for such an elf. Su Qingni had to look for other elves. There were not many elves in this world, and Su Qingni found them quickly. Su Qingni woke these elves from their slumber and asked them if they were willing to go with her to another world with abundant spiritual energy. Such interesting and pleasing-looking elves naturally had to be drawn to their own territory for collection. Those elves were very vigilant and suspicious, thinking that Su Qingni was one of those practitioners who wanted to catch them to make medicine. However, Su Qingni only released a little bit of momentum, and these elves no longer doubted Su Qingni. How could such a powerful existence covet the little life and spiritual power they could provide? If she wanted to capture them for medicine, she would just capture them directly, and why would she ask for their opinions? After thinking it through, the elves all agreed. The reason why these elves chose to sleep is because the spiritual energy in this world is too little to support their activities. They sleep as a last resort, otherwise they will become ordinary humans like Huanreo or disappear completely in time. They don't want to disappear, so they can only choose to sleep. Now Su Qingni can provide them with a world with abundant spiritual energy, so that they can do whatever they want when they are awake. How can they refuse this temptation? So, all the elves chose to follow Su Qingni. Su Qingni packed the elves back to the Lich world. Before leaving, she also saw Zuleiyu. This buddy is really pure and has few desires. But this is very good for his cultivation. His family is rich and can buy a lot of cultivation resources for him. It only took 10 years for Zuleiyu to reach the same level of cultivation as his master. If he continues to practice so hard, he may be able to form a golden elixir and become the only golden elixir real person in this world for hundreds of years. As for Zuleiyu's master, he is already dead. Su Qingni saw the soul of Zuleiyu's master in the underworld. This old man relied on his cultivation to do some evil things in the world, and was sentenced to the layer of the 18 layers of hell for 100 years. After 100 years, he will be reincarnated again, and he must start as an animal. Su Qingni found a fragment of the true spirit of the ancestor witch in this world, on Du Zufei. It was with this fragment of the true spirit of the ancestor witch that the blood of an ordinary person like Du Zufei could give birth to Huanreo. Now, Du Zufei is still alive and well, and Su Qingni cannot take the fragment out of his soul. Su Qingni told the matter to Niangniang Pingxin, and from then on, Niangniang Pingxin would keep an eye on Du Zufei. When he dies, Niangniang Pingxin will take out the fragment of the ancestor witch from his soul. Su Qingni returned to the witch world. The elves she brought back were surrounded by witches and demons, but everyone was very friendly and didn't do anything to the elves. The elves were scared at first, but then they felt relieved. They liked the witch world very much, the spiritual energy here was so rich. Chapter 336, Western Fantasy 1. The elves finally chose to settle in the territory of the demon clan. Although they were brought back by Su Qingni, their generation method was more similar to that of the demon clan, and they were closer to the demon clan. The witch clan did not care about this and smiled as they sent the elves out of the witch clan's territory. Su Qingni rested in the witch and lich world for a while, and then began to travel again. I am the dividing line after traveling. Su Qingni traveled to the Western fantasy world and possessed a girl named Nora. Since it is a Western fantasy world with magic fighting spirit, this world can accommodate Su Qingni's larger soul and more power. However, she was still possessed this time. The original body is still alive and well. Nora is a little girl of 7 or 8 years old, very cute. The little girl was not afraid of Su Qingni's appearance, and she was also interested in communicating with Su Qingni and asked Su Qingni to tell her stories. Su Qingni simply disguised herself as a portable old man and found a storage ring with only 10 cubic meters of space from the storage bracelet she had smuggled in, saying that it was her own space, and asked the little girl to drip blood to recognize the owner. There is no such prop as storage space in this world. After the little girl got the storage ring, she had a lot of fun and believed Su Qingni's words, thinking that Su Qingni was really the portable old man in the ring. Su Qingni was also very responsible, and she did the job of portable old man very well. Not only did she give the little girl a storage ring, she also gave her elixir to improve her qualifications. The little girl had a good background. Her great-grandfather was a magic saint, her grandfather, father and mother were all great magicians, and her brothers and sisters all had the qualifications to learn magic, and each of them had good qualifications. Although the little girl could also learn magic, her qualifications were just ordinary. She was sad for a long time because of this. After the little girl took the elixir, she went through a painful marrow washing and meridian cutting, and her qualifications became top qualifications. The girl's change in qualifications could not be hidden from her family, so Su Qingni's existence was also known by the girl's parents. The girl's great-grandfather, grandfather, father and mother wanted to see Su Qingni in person to confirm whether she had any bad intentions towards the girl. Su Qingni transformed into a virtual human figure and revealed a pressure higher than that of the magic saint, shocking the girl's parents. Then Su Qingni made up a conversation to fool the parents, letting them know that she had no ill will towards the girl and would leave when the time came. The parents finally believed Su Qingni's words. After all, Su Qingni was so powerful, almost a god. How could she have any ideas about a little girl? Nora's ability to get the favor of the master was Nora's luck and the Ackerman family's luck, mainly because Su Qingni tempted them with benefits and moved them. Su Qingni provided the Ackerman family with a set of magic practice methods that were even higher than the practice methods in this world, and gave them several pills to improve their qualifications. Don't ask why Su Qingni has a magic practice method. Isn't it okay to make it up now? Who is Su Qingni? The ancient god. Much more powerful than the so-called gods in this small world. Her understanding of the laws is incomparable to the gods in this world. It is easy for her to use the laws of this world to make up a set of magic training methods. She also made up a method of practicing fighting spirit. The direct descendants of the Ackerman family began to practice new magic training methods. The results were very significant. In less than 10 years, the little girl's grandfather and parents broke through the great magician and became magic saints. And her great-grandfather also touched the barrier of the magic god. It is not easy to break this barrier, and it still requires hard practice and accumulation. The little girl is now a big girl. 18-year-old Nora is bright and generous, like a rose with dew in the sun. She has a cheerful and generous personality, and many boys like her. It's a pity that the little girl has already decided on a fiancé when she was very young. The little girl's fiancé Garfield is a direct descendant of another big family, Elworth. He is very handsome and has top qualifications. However, she is already a magician at the age of 20. She is a leader among the younger generation and is very popular among girls. Because of this fiancé, Nora is not very popular among women. Women are jealous that she is Garfield's fiancé. Whenever the girl goes out to gain experience, the women pray in their hearts that the girl will encounter an accident. If Nora dies, they will have the opportunity to become Garfield's woman. These women don't know that the strength of the little girl Nora is one level higher than their dream lover Garfield. Nora has been practicing the cultivation method that Su Qingni gave to the Ackerman family since she was a child. In the meantime, Su Qingni has been guiding her at any time. The girl's progress is rapid. Now she is a great magician, a full level higher than Garfield. The little girl's brothers and sisters also practice this method and are all magicians. However, the patriarchs of the Ackerman family knew the essence of playing the pig to eat the tiger, and they understood the truth that the tree that stands out in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. They not only prevented the children in the family from revealing the skills they practiced, but also asked the children to lower their strength by 2 or 3 levels when they performed outside. The method of concealing the level was provided by Su Qingni. Although the Ackerman family is powerful and influential, it is also feared by the royal family. Many powerful families are feared by the royal family. There is a god of law in the royal family, and all families cannot compete with the royal family. If the royal family knew that the Ackerman family had a skill that could make people break through to the god of law, had a patriarch who was about to break through to the god of law, and even had extraordinary qualifications and were very likely to become the descendants of the god of law as long as they did not die, the royal family would definitely take action against the Ackerman family. They would not take action openly, and they would definitely play tricks. As for why Garfield was so talented and excellent, the royal family did not take action against him and his family. That's because the Alworth family is a family close to the royal family and has a long-term marriage with the royal family. Garfield's biological mother is a princess of the royal family, the younger sister of the current emperor. If Garfield's blood relationship with his cousins was not too close, which would have a bad influence on the children born, how could the royal family allow Garfield to marry a woman from another family? Nora's current strength is that of an intermediate magician, and her brother and sister only show the level of senior magicians. She is one of the more mediocre among the outstanding talents, and has not attracted too much attention from the royal family. Nora thinks that this kind of life of pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger is very interesting. Under Su Qingni's guidance, the little girl grew into a white-skinned black sesame dumpling. Chapter 337 Western Fantasy II. Nora, where are you going for this training? Caps Ackerman, Nora's elder brother, asked his sister with concern. I'm going to Gazdam Forest. Nora answered and immediately said, Brother, don't come with me this time. I have made an appointment with a few companions. Caps was worried about his sister's safety. Are your companions reliable? How strong are they? Can they protect you? Nora frowned. Brother, don't treat me as a child. I am a great magician, and my strength is much stronger than yours. I don't need others' protection, nor do I need your protection. Caps hummed, Well, you have always shown yourself to be an intermediate magician, so I really treat you as an intermediate magician. Nora rolled her eyes at him and said, This time, Garfield will also go with us. Caps said, Oh, I understand expression, so you want to cultivate feelings with your fiancé, then I won't go. Nora blushed slightly. She still liked this fiancé very much? Which girl would not like a handsome and outstanding fiancé? Su Qingni turned over in Nora's sea of consciousness and closed her eyes to rest. She was not optimistic about the relationship between Nora and her fiancé. Su Qingni saw clearly that Garfield had no feelings for Nora, not even a little bit of love. The reason why he followed Nora to play out the experience was probably because of his family's request, so he and his fiancé cultivated feelings. Garfield has not met a woman he likes yet, so he obeyed the family's arrangement, right? I just don't know if the two of them will develop feelings during this experience. After all, in the past few years, because of their respective cultivation and study, they didn't meet many times and didn't know each other very well. Garfield didn't have much impression of Nora, so naturally he wouldn't like her. This time, the two of them spent more time together, so there should be some progress, right? Nora was looking forward to the experience, and happily packed a lot of good things into her storage bracelet, including daily necessities, clothes, tools for camping in the wild, and various seasonings. Of course, the most stuff she put in was magic scrolls. These scrolls were offensive and defensive, and they were all prepared by Ackerman's parents for their children. The Ackerman family was not short of money, they were only worried that their children would encounter danger when they went out. Preparing more scrolls would give the children more hope of saving their lives. Nora filled her storage bracelet full, and took out a storage bag she made herself and filled it up. The storage bag was very low level, with only 1 cubic meter of space. This world had no storage devices, but it had space magic. Su Qingni created space magic patterns based on the space magic of this world. She taught the magic patterns to Nora, and asked Nora to draw the magic patterns on a small bag made of monster skin. In this way, the low-level storage bag was successfully made. Nora taught the method of making storage bags to other people in the Ackerman family. Nowadays, the direct descendants of the Ackerman family and other people who are sure to be loyal have one or more storage bags. 3 days later, Nora happily came to the gate of the academy and joined the teammates who were training together. The teammates all carried packages of different sizes. In order to avoid others coveting the storage device, Nora also carried a package of medium size to cover it up. "I'm late." Nora apologized to her teammates. "No. You are not the last one. Mason has not come yet," the young man said. Nora's teammates who went out for training this time, including Garfield, had a total of 9 people. 4 of them were Nora's classmates of the same grade, 2 men and 2 women. The others were all people from Garfield's original team, also 2 men and 2 women. The number of men and women was exactly half and half. The young man who spoke was one of Garfield's teammates, named Jewel. He was the only one of Garfield's teammates who was present now who was kind to Nora. Their other male teammate named Mason had not arrived yet. The 2 female teammates were obviously Garfield's admirers, so they naturally had a bad attitude towards Nora, Garfield's legitimate fiancée. But Nora didn't care. There weren't too many women like this, and she was used to their attitude. Humph, they could only be jealous. Garfield was her fiancé, and that was a fact. They couldn't change it. Even if they were jealous to death, they couldn't get Garfield. Nora was proud in her heart, and ignored the 2 women. She only greeted Garfield, Jewel and her 4 companions happily. The 4 companions were named Cloris, Carol, Braden and Douglas. Cloris was the same as Nora's appearance, an intermediate magician. Carol, Braden and Douglas were warriors. Carol was an intermediate warrior, and Braden and Douglas were both advanced warriors. In Garfield's team, he was a wizard, and his other teammates were all warriors. Jewel was an earth warrior, and the other 3 were all advanced warriors. The level division in this world was like this. Whether it was practicing magic or practicing fighting spirit, it was divided into 10 levels according to the strength. The levels of magicians are Magic Apprentice, Primary Magician, Intermediate Magician, Senior Magician, Wizard, Great Wizard, Magician, Great Wizard, Magic Saint, and God of Law. The levels of warriors are Warrior Apprentice, Primary Warrior, Intermediate Warrior, Senior Warrior, Earth Warrior, Sky Warrior, War Master, Great War Master, War Saint, and God of Law. Above the God of War and the God of Law, there are gods, but no matter how hard the creatures of this continent try, they cannot break through the barrier of the god level and cannot truly become gods. Nora was chatting with Garfield. Garfield acted indifferent, but still listened to Nora politely. He still gave face to this fiancée. If it were other women, he would not listen to their nonsense all the time. In Garfield's mind, those insignificant words were nonsense. Nora knew Garfield's character, and was not unhappy because of his cold attitude. She still happily talked about her longing for this trip. Legend has it that there are dragons in the Gazdam forest. Is that true? Nora's round almond eyes were full of curiosity and longing. I wonder what kind of dragon it is and why it lives in the Gazdam forest. Garfield said calmly, the legend is of course not true. The dragons live on Dragon Island and will not leave easily. After a pause, Garfield said, if there really is a dragon in the Gazdam forest, you'd better hope that we don't encounter it. With our current strength, we are no match for the dragon. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338, Western Fantasy III. With our current strength, we are no match for the dragon. Garfield said lightly. Nora blinked her big eyes and said, we cannot fight with a dragon. We can communicate with a dragon peacefully. Can we be friends? Garfield replied with a haha. Nora couldn't help but feel wronged, and asked Su Qingni in her heart, am I wrong? Su Qingni said, any intelligent life can communicate, and it is also possible to be friends with him. But you have to see the position clearly, and also know whether others are willing to be friends with you. Su Qingni took this opportunity to educate Nora. Although this child is a black sesame dumpling, She was spoiled and grew up in a happy family after all. She has little experience and has seen almost no darkness. She is also naive and self-righteous. If the Ackerman family can always protect her, this little naivety is nothing. But without the blessing of the family, she is afraid that she will suffer a lot, and maybe even endanger her own life. Su Qingni decided. This time, she will not care about Nora again, even if the child is in danger of her life. Of course, if Nora really couldn't resist, she would rescue the child before Nora died. Sorry, I'm late. The last opponent Mason finally came. But he didn't come alone. He was accompanied by a beautiful woman wearing light warrior armor, with a delicate and beautiful face and a hot body. The beauty was about the same age as Nora. She had a delicate and soft appearance. She looked like a delicate girl studying magic, but her figure was indeed convex and curvy, and she was heroic. This contradictory beauty made her more attractive. The eyes of the men present were all focused on her, and even Garfield looked at her a few more times. Mason smiled at everyone apologetically and expectantly, and said to Garfield, everyone tacitly and unanimously agreed that Garfield would be the captain of this training team. Garfield, can Julia join our team and go to the training with us? No. It was not Nora who raised the objection, but Alice. Seeing that the men were attracted by Julia's beauty, the girl was jealous and immediately objected. However, Garfield and Mason ignored her objection. Garfield asked, what is the origin of this person? How strong is she? Mason was about to answer, but Julia spoke first and introduced herself. My name is Julia, I am 18 years old, and now I am an Earth Warrior. Earth Warrior. Everyone gasped in surprise. An 18-year-old Earth Warrior? Question mark. This is as talented as Garfield. Garfield was also very surprised. His magic talent is the best in the world, so he became a wizard at the age of 20. But the girl in front of him became an Earth Warrior of the same level as a wizard at the age of 18. This talent is not worse than his own, and even a little higher than his own. It's just that you have such good qualifications and strength. Why haven't we heard of your name? Garfield asked. Generally, people with good qualifications will be valued by their families and trained with emphasis. After entering the academy, they will also be valued by mentors and known by students. But how could this girl remain unknown? Qiao Li lowered her head and said sadly, my mother died early, and my father no longer loved me after marrying a stepmother. I was not valued at home. I don't know what happened when I tested my qualifications. It was found that my qualifications were very poor, and I was a waste. My father gave up and threw me to live in a manor outside the city, leaving me alone. I was unwilling to give up, so I found a way to practice fighting spirit from my mother's relics and practiced it myself. The effect was very poor at first, and then one day, I felt that something that had been restraining me in my body disappeared. The speed of practice became faster, and I practiced to the current level. But I was not very clear about the level division between warriors and magicians. It was not until I met Mason that he took me to the warrior union for the coronation test that I realized that I was already an Earth Warrior. Qiao Li looked very sad, and with her beautiful appearance, she felt a bit like a little white flower, which immediately aroused the pity of the men. The expression on Garfield's face also softened. Mason interrupted to add Julia's identity. Julia is the eldest daughter of the Duke of Bervis. Ah, she is the sickly eldest daughter of the Duke of Bervis. Carol blurted out. Everyone in Kyoto knew that the Duke of Bervis had married 2 wives, and his previous wife died, leaving behind a daughter. However, this daughter never appeared in the upper-class circle. Everyone knew that there was such a person, but they didn't know what this daughter looked like. The Duchess said to the public that this daughter had poor health like her biological mother, and she was sick every other day, and was not suitable to appear in front of people. I'm afraid that attending a ball would make her sick, and she might die of illness. Therefore, this daughter was given the title of sickly. Now everyone understands that she is not as sickly, but continues to dislike the daughter of her predecessor, suppress her and destroy her reputation. You know, with such a reputation as a sickly, no one is willing to marry Julia. Everyone looked at Julia with sympathy, and the men were even more pitiful for her. Nora tugged at Carol's clothes and said to Julia, I'm sorry. Carol didn't mean it. She didn't mean to say anything about you. It's okay. Julia raised her head, showing a beautiful smile, and said with tolerance and understanding, I understand. It's not your fault, but my stepmother. She deliberately made me look like this in front of everyone. My stepmother is wrong. Carol was very happy with Julia's generosity, and immediately accepted her as her friend, and happily talked to Julia. Nora frowned slightly. What does "it's not your fault" mean? She was just helping Carol explain to Julia, and she was not wrong. How could Julia say you? Was she unintentional or intentional? Nora's good impression of Julia decreased a lot, and she became slightly alert in her heart. Although she was a little self-righteous and naive, she was not a naive person. She was very sharp and had calculations. It was also because of this that Nora avoided many calculations and even avoided death traps. Welcome to our training team. Garfield welcomed Julia and agreed to her joining the training team. The men were happy, and most of the girls had no objection, only Alice and Garcia were unhappy. Chapter 339, Western Fantasy IV. Even though Alice and Garcia were unhappy, Julia still joined the training team. Let's go. Garfield gave the order to everyone when he saw that everyone was there. He gave the order as a matter of course, and the others also took it for granted. Only Nora frowned slightly, but didn't say anything, and followed Garfield obediently, walking beside him. Carol took Julia's arm and walked behind, smiling and popularizing the relationship between Garfield and Nora to Julia. They are an engaged couple, and their families are well matched. It's only a matter of time before they get married. As a good friend, Carol warned Julia, don't like Garfield. He has a fiancée and won't accept other women. Liking him will only make you suffer. Don't be jealous of Nora like Alice and Garcia. Jealousy is useless. Garfield won't look at them more because of their jealousy. It might even offend the Ackerman family, which is not worth the loss. These two people can't see the situation clearly. Don't learn from them. Julia's eyes flashed, and she responded with her mouth, but she didn't know what she was thinking. The group came to the horse and carriage shop. It's called a horse and carriage shop, but the horses used for transportation are not just ordinary horses, but also many kinds of magic beasts that are good at speed. These magic beasts are low-level and mid-level, but not high-level magic beasts. High-level magic beasts are not easy to tame. Only large forces and families will send people to tame high-level magic beasts for transportation. Horses are only ridden by ordinary people, and their speed is far inferior to that of low-level magic beasts. The group was rich. Even Julia, who was left alone in the farm by Purvis, had the dowry left by her mother and the money she earned herself, which was enough to rent a mid-level magic beast. Moreover, they went to the Gazdam forest for training. There were many good things in the forest, and the magic beasts they hunted could also be exchanged for money. A trip there would definitely earn back the money for renting the magic beast. Gazdam was far away from Kyoto. If they walked there on foot, it would probably take half a year. However, with the mid-level magic beasts, they arrived at Gross City, the nearest city to the Gazdam forest, in less than 10 days. During these 10 days, Julia won the favor of everyone with her personal charm, even Alice and Garcia, who did not welcome her to join. Julia seemed to have a magical power. Anyone who deliberately made friends with her would have a good impression of her, and even those who hated her and were hostile to her would eliminate their hostility. Because of her vigilance towards Qiao Liya, when Qiao Liya tried to befriend her, Nora was chatting and laughing with Qiao Liya on the surface, but she was more alert in her heart. Lord Qingni, is there something strange about Qiao Liya? Nora asked Su Qingni in her heart. Judge for yourself. Su Qingni did not give Nora a definite answer this time, but only asked her to think and judge. Su Qingni implemented her previous decision. She would never interfere in Nora's training journey, and let Nora solve any problems by herself. However, she had already confirmed Nora's inquiry in her heart. Qiao Liya was indeed strange, and Su Qingni saw it at the first sight of her. Qiao Liya today is no longer the native Qiao Liya. Her core has been changed and replaced by a time traveler. And the time traveler has all kinds of golden fingers. One of them is to make people who can please her feel good about her. The other golden finger should be the change of physical qualifications, right? The original native Qiao Liya should have poor qualifications. It is very likely that her stepmother had calculated and gave her drugs that destroyed her qualifications or something. The time traveler came, restored her body, and had top-level cultivation qualifications, and perhaps also obtained some powerful inheritance. Su Qingni saw that Qiao Liya was not only a warrior, but also practiced both magic and martial arts. She had an uncomfortable aura on her body, which was brought by the magic she practiced. But this aura was hidden very well by her. Su Qingni felt a little sympathetic for the little girl she raised. According to Qiao Liya's setting, This girl is very similar to the heroine in some strong female novels, pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger, ruthless means, firm heart, attracting excellent men to like. Garfield should be the best man in everyone's eyes, right? Maybe he's the male protagonist. Then, as his fiancée, Nora would become a cannon fodder female partner who hinders the relationship between the male and female protagonists? Poor child. Su Qingni pretended to shed a handful of sympathetic tears for the little girl Nora. Of course, with her care, the little girl would definitely not be cannon fodder. But as for Garfield, this man, Su Qingni thought it was better for the little girl to kick him. She had already seen that after 10 days of getting along, and Julia deliberately approaching him, Garfield had developed different feelings for Julia. Perhaps because of the existence of Nora, his fiancée, and the friendship between the Ackerman family and the Alworth family, Garfield restrained this feeling and did not show his affection for Julia. But he could not help but secretly peek at Julia. The more he peeked, the more attracted he was, and the deeper his feelings for Julia. When the feelings could no longer be restrained, it was unknown what choice he would make. Su Qingni judged that Garfield would most likely sacrifice Nora. As for the method of sacrifice, Garfield was not a moral gentleman. He was the heir trained by a big family. Such a person would do many things that harmed the interests of others for his own benefit, even if it was the lives of others. Nora did not get Su Qingni's affirmative answer, but she was sure that Julia was weird and was more wary of her. At the same time, she naturally discovered that Garfield treated Julia differently. Nora developed hostility towards Julia because of this. However, the smart child hid this hostility in her heart and did not show it. Now everyone in the team regards Julia as a good person and has a good relationship with her. If she shows hostility towards Julia, others will definitely blame her, and even her friends will stand on Julia's side. Nora frowned. This feeling is really bad. But now she can only endure it temporarily, and wait until this experience is over and then have no intersection with Julia. As for Garfield, Nora decided to wait and see. If Garfield abides by their engagement and does not get entangled with Julia, then she will marry Garfield. If Garfield and Julia are entangled, she will ask her great-grandfather to help her cancel the engagement. Humph, even if she has some feelings for Garfield, so what? It's not easy to find a three-legged toad in the world, but is it not easy to find a two-legged man? Chapter 340 Western Fantasy 5. It's hard to find a three-legged frog in the world, but is it hard to find a two-legged man? Even if my qualifications are not as good as Garfield's, I know how to prepare potions to improve my qualifications. Although it's not as good as the pills given by Lord Qingni, the effect is still good. When the time comes, find a man with good character who likes me and looks good, and give him the potion I prepare to improve his qualifications. His future achievements will not be lower than Garfield. Nora thought bitterly in her heart. The main reason why she is so free and easy is that this girl does not like Garfield, and more importantly, she has Su Qingni as her backer. If she didn't have the potion to help people improve their qualifications, it would be difficult to find a man better than Garfield. It's said that the little girl has identified this fiancé and she is determined to suppress the women around her fiancé and want to drive them away. As a result, she is disliked by her fiancé and becomes a vicious female supporting role or cannon fodder. Su Qingni is happy that the little girl has such thoughts under her teaching. If you have no heart, I will give up. Isn't it just a man? What's so great about it? Whoever treats it as a treasure can take it. The group found a high-end hotel in Gross City to stay. They would rest for 2 days and then buy some necessary supplies in the city to enter the forest. They would go in when they were fully prepared. After a good night's sleep, the girls called out to go out shopping, and the men naturally followed behind to carry things. Garfield never participated in such activities. But this time, Garfield appeared among the men. Nora looked at Garfield and then at Julia. She looked very secretly, and the two did not notice her. They were still communicating with their eyes. Nora was angry. Although she had the idea of breaking off the engagement, she was still reluctant. After all, apart from her own brothers, Nora had not seen a better man than Garfield. If Garfield could respect her fiancé, she would still like to continue the engagement. But now it seems that Garfield does not take her fiancé seriously at all. She is still by his side, and he is flirting with Julia. Damn it. It's too damned. In anger, the little girl turned a little dark. Humph, they actually didn't give face to me, their legitimate fiancé, so I must teach this pair of married women a lesson. If I can't kill them, I'll just beat them up secretly. With my strength 1 level higher than the 2 of them, I decided to crush them. Even if I beat them, they wouldn't find out who did it. The little girl had a good idea, and Su Qingni was happy to see it. She didn't remind the little girl that Qiao Linaya was a magician and a martial artist. If the little girl taught Qiao Linaya a lesson, she might end up being taught a lesson by Qiao Linaya in the end, and she might even be in danger of her life. Qiao Linaya is not a good woman, and Garfield is even less so. The 2 of them might have been looking for an opportunity to kill Nora and wanted Nora to give way to Qiao Linaya. The group walked out of the hostel and strolled around Grow City. Grow City is very lively, even more lively than Kyoto. Except for a few locals, most of the people here are adventurers who come to Gazdam Forest. Gazdam Forest is very dangerous, but it is a paradise for adventurers. If they could bring out very precious minerals and plants or be lucky enough to kill a high-level monster, they would make a fortune. The girls went shopping happily and bought a lot of things. However, they were very sensible and bought things that were useful to them. They did not buy unimportant things. After buying the things, everyone went back to the hostel together. Halfway through, they ran into a group of people fighting. The magic fighting spirit was overflowing, causing chaos among the people on the street. Everyone ran around and separated the people who were originally walking together. Nora turned around to look for her companions, and saw Garfield holding Julia's hand and entering a small alley. Nora narrowed her eyes. Back to the hostel, Jewel and Cloris had already returned. Then, the others returned to the hostel one after another. But Garfield and Julia were still not back. Jewel couldn't help but feel a little worried, and said, "Have they run into trouble? Why don't we go out and look for them?" Garfield and Julia are so strong that they can easily solve any trouble they run into. If we go and look for them, we might even hinder them. Let's wait for them in the hostel. Garcia objected. She glanced at Nora, and a gloating look flashed in her eyes. Alice had the same look as her, and said, "Yes. Maybe they have something to do. Let's not disturb them." Girls are the most sensitive to matters of love between men and women. Moreover, Alice and Garcia both admire Garfield, so they are naturally more sensitive to his emotional changes. As for Garfield's love for Julia, the 2 did not envy and hate Julia because of Julia's influence on them, but only gloated over Nora, the legitimate fiancée. They even felt that Garfield and Julia were a perfect match, and Nora was not worthy of Garfield at all. They were waiting to see Garfield abandon Nora. Nora was silent. Alice and Garcia thought they had hit Nora, but they didn't know that Nora was thinking about whether she should follow these people to train. They haven't even entered the Gazdam Forest yet, and these people are like this. What if they secretly attack her after entering the forest? Nora didn't trust Alice and Garcia in the first place, and she didn't even trust Mason. Now that these people are on good terms with Julia, she doesn't trust them even more. Even her original companions, Nora doesn't trust them very much. Nora turned back to her room. She wanted to ask Su Qingni for advice, whether to continue to follow these people into the forest for adventure, or just go it alone. With Su Qingni, she wouldn't be in danger of her life if she went into the Gazdam Forest alone. Similarly, with Su Qingni, she followed the others, and even if Julia and Alice Garcia plotted against her, she wouldn't be killed by them. Su Qingni still gave the same answer, "Make your own decision." Nora thought about it and decided to follow this group of people first. She was still thinking about putting sacks on Garfield and Julia, and now Alice and Garcia were added to the sacks. If she separated from them, wouldn't it be impossible to put them in the sack? Julia and Garfield came back after dinner. The window paper between the 2 of them must have been broken, and pink bubbles were all over their bodies. When others saw them like this, they didn't think they were doing this to Nora, but thought it was normal. Chapter 341 Western Fantasy VI. Su Qingni saw the reactions of the team members and frowned slightly. Have all these people become brain dead? Could it be that Qiao Linaya brought an aura that lowered people's intelligence when she traveled through time? Su Qingni separated a trace of her consciousness and invaded Qiao Linaya's body without Qiao Linaya being able to detect it. Then, she found an interesting gadget in Qiao Linaya's body. This girl traveled through time with a game system. No wonder this girl practiced so fast, and in just 1 year, she cultivated her fighting spirit to the level of a land warrior. No wonder she could practice both magic and martial arts. No wonder she could make people who could befriend her feel good about her. No wonder other people became fools when they met her. It turned out to be related to the game system. Su Qingni sighed at the game system and left Qiao Linaya's body. This game system is closely connected to Qiao Liai's soul and it is difficult to separate it. Of course, if Su Qingni wants to separate it, it is naturally possible, but it will hurt Qiao Liai's soul and make her soul fly away. Although this girl is not a good person, it is too much to let her soul fly away. Only when the netherworld is connected to this world, Qiao Liai's soul will enter the underworld, and the game system will be stripped away in the underworld, so as not to cause too much damage to her soul. Returning to Nora's body, Su Qingni continued to watch the show silently. Nora and the training team have entered the Gazdam forest. The forest is indeed full of dangers and surprises, where risks and opportunities coexist. The team's strength is considered strong among all the explorers who enter the forest. They disdain to move around the periphery of the forest and enter the inner part of the forest. To say it is the inner part is just an area that is further into the periphery. The real inner circle, with their strength, is very dangerous to enter. And the real loyalty is a restricted area that even the magic saint cannot enter. Naturally, everyone's wish to see the dragon cannot be achieved. Qiao Liai really wants to enter the center to take a look. She thinks that with a game system, she may be able to enter the restricted area and may be able to collect a dragon as a pet. However, she thought very beautifully, and the reality hit her hard. Even if she has a golden finger against the sky, what does it matter? Her own strength was not strong enough, and she couldn't even get close to the restricted area, let alone enter it. Qiao Liai secretly tried it when everyone was sleeping, and used the props purchased from the game mall to enter the real inner circle. Unfortunately, the props were good, but with her current strength, she could only play 1/3 of their effectiveness. Not long after entering, she was discovered by a powerful monster, who chased her out and even injured her seriously. If it weren't for the superb healing medicine provided by the game system, her life would have been lost in the inner circle. After healing her wounds, Qiao Liai rolled her eyes and an idea came to her mind. She almost died in the inner circle of the forest with the support of the system. What if Nora entered it? However, she was an intermediate magician, 2 levels lower than herself, and her strength was even worse. If she entered, she would only become the food of the monsters. Qiao Liai stared at Nora's tent, with the cold light flashing in her eyes. Blame it on you being Garfield's fiancé. He is the man I like. Nora didn't know that Julia wanted her life. She wanted to teach Julia and Garfield a lesson. Before that, she had secretly taught Alice and Garcia a lesson. She secretly attacked, and Alice and Garcia were both seriously injured. They thought it was caused by the danger in the forest, and they didn't think of Nora who attacked secretly. In their eyes, Nora was a magician with lower strength than them, and she had no ability to hurt them. But they didn't know that she was pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger. She was stronger than the strongest of them, Garfield and Julia. At least Nora used tricks, and neither of them noticed. That day, Nora pitted Garfield again. Although Garfield was not seriously injured like Alice and Julia, he was in a mess, and his image as a nobleman collapsed. Garfield lost face, and he kept a black face. He didn't even eat at night and stayed in his tent. Even when Julia went in to comfort Garfield, he didn't come out of the tent. But he still ate the food Julia brought in. Nora watched Julia walk out of Garfield's tent, her eyes narrowed. The only one left was this woman. How about we do it tonight? Julia felt Nora's gaze, turned her head and looked over, her eyes narrowed as well. Tonight is an opportunity, how about we do it tonight? Late at night, everyone else was asleep. Nora sat by the fire, and now she was on guard. Julia took over. I don't know who arranged this order, but it was convenient for her. When Julia came out, she would find an excuse to lure her out of the camp and then do it. Just thinking about it, Julia walked out of her tent. Huh? Is it time? Nora looked at the timer in confusion. It was not time for the shift change yet. No, I woke up because I wanted to go to the bathroom. Julia smiled at Nora, and begged very embarrassedly, Nora, can you accompany me to the bathroom? It's too dark at night, and the forest is full of dangers. I'm a little scared. Nora's eyes flickered. What luck. I was still trying to find an excuse to trick Julia out of the camp, but she proposed it first. Okay. Nora agreed, pressed her hands on the ground, and stood up. The two women, each with their own ulterior motives, walked out of the camp side by side like good sisters. They were determined to get away from the camp and did not stop even after walking a long way. Nora did not care which direction to go. She was carefully exploring if there was anything to trick Julia without making people suspect her. Julia purposefully led people to the inner circle, Their strength could not enter the inner circle, but relying on the inner circle to move around, they could gain more here than the outer circle. Therefore, their camp was not far from the inner circle. Suddenly, Nora saw a poisonous weed that could be used to trick people, and said, "Let's do it here. Julia, go over there and relieve yourself. I'll wait for you here." Okay, Julia walked towards the direction of the poisonous weed, and suddenly she shouted as if she had discovered something, "Garfield!" What? Nora was shocked. Why did this person come out? If he ran out, how could she trick Julia? But Julia turned around and said to Nora anxiously with a worried look on her face, "I saw Garfield. He ran in that direction. Something must have happened. Let's go after him and see. Maybe we can help Garfield." Chapter 342, Western Fantasy VI. Let's go after them and see. Maybe we can help Garfield. Julia said and ran in one direction. Although Nora was dissatisfied with Garfield as her fiancé, she would not want to see Garfield die. After hearing this, she quickly followed Julia and ran towards the inner circle. Unknowingly, the two of them ran into the dividing line between the inner and outer circles. In order to lure Nora deeper, Julia was very painful and bought 4 props that could hide her breath. She only used one hiding prop before, and was soon discovered by the high-level monsters. Now that there is another Nora, she has to double the hiding props to allow the two to go later and deeper. After running for a while, Nora found something wrong. The environment was wrong. The surrounding environment was very similar to the legendary inner circle. And they had been running for so long, but they didn't see Garfield at all. Nora stopped suddenly. Julia had to stop and asked anxiously and puzzledly, "Why did you stop? Hurry up and chase him. What if it's too late and Garfield is in danger? What should I do?" "Just let it go." Nora said lightly, "He died, so I can just find a new fiancé." Julia didn't expect to hear such an answer, and her saliva almost choked her. You are so heartless." "Haha." Nora laughed mockingly. "Why should I have feelings for a man who betrayed his fiancé and hooked up with other women?" "So you found out." Julia changed her expression and said coldly. "You are too obvious." Nora also had a cold expression. The two beautiful women were like ice swords and sharp blades at this time, confronting each other with momentum. Nora said, "Where's Garfield? I can't see him." "Julia, you know it's my excuse, but you still followed me. You actually have the same idea as me, right?" "Nora, I didn't expect you to be so vicious. You stole my fiancé and want my life." As a victim, she just wanted to teach the scumbag a lesson, but she didn't expect the slut to be so vicious that she wanted to kill her and make way for the slut. Julia snorted, "Garfield is the man I like. Any woman who steals a man from me will die." Nora frowned. This woman is too domineering and too vicious. If she, Garfield's fiancé, is going to die, then Alice and Garcia, the two women who love Garfield, I'm afraid Julia doesn't want them to live too long, right? Nora snorted coldly, "In that case, I'll kill you first." Haha. Julia laughed, "Just you? An intermediate magician? Or those life-saving props given to you by your family?" If it comes to props, how can Nora beat herself? Nora stared coldly at Qiao Linai's arrogant look of looking down on her, and her momentum gradually rose. Senior magician, wizard, great wizard. Qiao Linai was stunned. Nora was actually a great wizard? Exclamation mark. A great wizard who was one level higher than Garfield. Isn't this girl more talented than Garfield? Damn. She actually pretended to be a pig and ate a tiger, and even fooled herself. Qiao Linai gritted her teeth in anger, looking at Nora with a look full of fear and murderous intent. This woman must not be allowed to live. Qiao Linai had a hunch that Nora was her biggest enemy in this world. Nora looked at Qiao Linai, thinking that she would rush to take action before she launched magic. Generally, warriors and magicians use this routine in battles. Although the routine was old, it was very effective. However, Qiao Linai not only did not rush over, but also turned her hand, and I don't know where she hid her weapon. After another turn of her hand, a magic wand appeared in Qiao Linai's hand. The magic wand gave Nora a very uncomfortable feeling. You are a magician and martial artist. Nora didn't expect that Qiao Linai also had a hidden card. Qiao Linai snorted and cast a spell, and then the ground was churning, and skeletons came out from the ground one by one. Nora was horrified. Although she had killed monsters and people before, these moving skeletons were very scary. The little girl was so scared that she couldn't even use magic. although her magician level was one level higher than Qiao Linia. Qiao Linia waved her hand, and all the skeletons rushed towards Nora. Nora turned around and ran away in fear. She was afraid in her heart and didn't care about the direction. She rushed into the inner circle. Qiao Linia didn't dare to go deeper, and only ordered the skeletons to chase Nora as far as they could. Nora was far away from herself. She didn't have any props to hide her breath, and she would definitely be discovered by the high-level monsters soon. Sure enough, Qiao Linia stood there waiting for a while before she heard the cry of the high-level monsters. All the skeletons she summoned disappeared. Julia turned around and ran out quickly. Back at the camp, Julia pretended nothing had happened and kept watch. Then she changed shifts with Alice and went back to her tent to rest. The next day, everyone found that Nora was gone. Except for Carol and Jewel, everyone else was happy about Nora's disappearance. Garfield, of course, was eager to let Nora die in the Gazdam forest, so that he would not have an engagement and could be with Julia openly. Although Klaus was Nora's classmate, she had always been jealous of Nora's magical talent. If Nora was gone, she would be the most popular female magician in the same grade. As for Braden and Douglas, although they were in the same grade as Nora, they were not particularly familiar with each other. What's more, the two had already developed a good impression of Julia through Julia's deliberate solicitation, and everything was considered for Julia. They felt that Nora was the one who hindered Julia and deserved to disappear. The group only symbolically looked for Nora, and stopped looking after judging that she might have entered the inner circle. Although Carol and Jewel wanted to find Nora, the inner circle was too dangerous, and they would not let themselves fall into danger. Therefore, these people only stayed in the camp for 3 days and then left to continue their adventure. As for Nora's death, would the Ackerman family be angry with them? Isn't there still Garfield? At worst, they could just join the Alworth family. The camera turned back to Nora's side. The little girl was chased by the skeletons for a while, which alarmed the high-level monsters in the inner circle. The high-level monsters waved their claws, and all the skeletons fell apart. The little girl breathed a sigh of relief, and her own strength returned. Naturally, she was not the opponent of the high-level monsters, but she could still deal with it and escape. The little girl fought and fled, and although she was injured, she finally got rid of the high-level monsters. But the problem is that there is more than one monster in the inner circle of Gazdam Forest. Chapter 343 Western Fantasy 8. There is more than one magic beast in the inner circle of Gazdam Forest. So in the following days, Nora spent her life escaping. While escaping and fighting magic beasts, Nora's skills became more and more proficient, and some magic could be cast instantly without spells. People can best unleash their potential and improve their strength between life and death. After 2 months of escaping and killing, and many dangerous situations, Nora's magician level was upgraded, becoming the youngest magician in the history of the continent. I don't know if it's good luck or bad luck. Just after the promotion, Nora encountered a 7th level magic beast. The 7th level magic beast corresponds to the magician level, and Nora just practiced. It was not easy to kill this 7th level magic beast, but the battle attracted an 8th level magic beast. What can Nora do? Run away quickly. She doesn't want to distinguish the direction and run to the periphery now. Even if she distinguishes the direction, it's useless. In the end, she will go deeper and deeper. Nora wondered, will she go deeper into the restricted area in the end? With her way of escaping, it is very likely. Maybe she can really see a dragon. Nora thought optimistically. She was not worried about losing her life after encountering the dragon, because she had Lord Qingni. She had almost died several times before, but Lord Qingni had saved her. Lord Qingni would not interfere in her battles, but would never watch her die. Nora was chased by the 8th level monster and plunged into the restricted area of Gazdam. The so-called restricted area is not a terrible or barren Jedi, but a place where monsters above the 9th level live. The 9th level monster is a holy level monster, corresponding to the magic saint and war saint among humans. It has intelligence, can speak, and communicate with humans, and its strength is even more powerful. The center of the restricted area is the area where the 10th level monster, that is, the god level monster, lives. The god level monster can transform into human form and looks no different from a human. If they blend into the crowd, no one can find that they are actually monsters. The 8th level monster dare not approach the restricted area. Nora was finally able to take a good rest to heal her wounds, but before she could catch her breath, she was discovered by the boss of the territory where she was. 9th Order Magic Beast. Nora didn't even dare to fight, so she could only run away. Then, she was chased by Ninth Order magic beasts from various territories along the way. These Ninth Order magic beasts may have been bored for a long time. They finally encountered a toy like Nora who broke in, so they chased Nora to play and killed her in no time. Otherwise, with a huge gap in strength between Nora and the Ninth Order magic beasts, the Ninth Order magic beasts really wanted to kill her and killed her with just one encounter. How could they allow her to jump around in the restricted area? Nora played the game of officers and soldiers catching robbers with the magic beasts in the restricted area, and then plunged into the area of god-level magic beasts. This area is very quiet, because the owner of this area likes to sleep very much and spends most of his time sleeping. Nora's arrival did not wake up the owner. He regarded Nora as a small insect that could not cause any trouble and continued to sleep peacefully. Nora was finally able to have a good rest. She didn't care how dirty the ground was, and she just lay down on the ground and fell asleep. The child's cleanliness obsession had long gone away during the desperate pursuit with the monsters in the past few months. You know, she didn't even have time to take a shower. No, she didn't even have time to wash her face during the pursuit. Why did she care about cleanliness? If she really cared, she would not want to live. Nora slept for 2 days and 2 nights, and finally got a good rest, and then she began to explore this area carefully. The owner of the territory was still sleeping, and Nora's actions did not wake him up, but slowly approached the owner of the territory. Wow, Nora Greek letter sigma, eh? What did she see? A dragon. It was really a dragon. A dragon sleeping on the treasure. Those golden coins and weapons that exuded magic and power made Nora almost drool. But no matter how attractive these were, they were not as attractive as their owners. A dragon sleeping on the treasure. The dragon was silver-white, which contrasted with the golden coins. Its body was large, but its lines were very smooth, combining strength and beauty. Nora stood in front of the dragon like a kitten standing in front of an elephant. Who? The dragon was sleeping and snoring. Nora carefully imprinted the dragon's posture in her mind. Haha, she saw the dragon with her own eyes. After returning, she would draw the dragon's appearance and show it to others. Others would definitely envy her. After completely outlining the whole in her mind, Nora turned and left. As for stealing some treasure while the dragon was sleeping, forget it. She had no shortage of good things, and if she really took the dragon's treasure, she would probably wake up the dragon that regarded the treasure as its life. Human, since you are here, why are you leaving so soon? Suddenly, the dragon spoke, and the voice was deafening, but it could be heard that it was a woman's voice. It turned out that this was a female dragon. Nora was startled. It turned out that the dragon had woken up a long time ago. It turned out that the dragon was pretending to sleep just now. If she really took the treasure before, she would have been flattened by the dragon's claws, right? Nora turned around slowly and forced a stiff smile. Well, I accidentally broke into your territory and disturbed your sleep. It's my fault. I will correct my mistake and leave here. You can continue to sleep. I'm awake and don't want to sleep anymore. The dragon said, Human, you stay and keep me company. As a reward for the toy, I won't take your life. Otherwise. The dragon didn't say the threat, but Nora could think of it. Nora couldn't help but make a bitter face. How long would she stay? A few years? 10 years? Decades? Or hundreds of years? She was a magician now, but she could lie for thousands of years. Would she have to be confined in the Gazdam forest for thousands of years, accompanying a dragon? She didn't want to. You don't want to. The dragon's voice was full of dissatisfaction. Nora said, Respect the dragon, it is my honor to accompany you. But I still have family and friends. If I don't go back, they will worry about me. So, I can only accompany you for a few months at most, and tell you about the outside world to relieve your boredom. At most, I will leave in half a year. Half a year? Too short. The dragon said dissatisfiedly, You have to accompany me for 100 years anyway. No. Nora refused very firmly, but she quickly called Su Qingni in her heart. Su Qingni responded lightly. Nora was relieved and confident. With Lord Qingni here, even the dragon can't kill her. If you don't accept my toast, you'll have to pay me back. The dragon raised its claws and slapped Nora. But it didn't use its full strength. It had finally managed to get a human into its territory, so it couldn't kill him so quickly. Chapter 344, Western Fantasy 9. It was not easy for a human to enter his territory, and he was not a greedy person who pleased him. He could not kill him so quickly. The dragon only used 1 point of strength, but Nora easily avoided it. The dragon was surprised. She was a god-level strong man. Even if she only used 1 point of strength, it was equivalent to the strength of a high-level magician and a high-level warrior of the human race. He originally thought that he could easily capture this human girl, but he did not expect that she could easily avoid him. How old is this girl? Not even 20 years old? She actually has the strength to surpass a high-level magician. This girl, among humans, can be said to be a genius among geniuses, right? No wonder she was able to pass through the inner circle of the Gazdam forest and reach the central area. In addition to luck, there is also her outstanding strength. The dragon became more and more interested in the little girl, and increased his strength by 2 points to attack Nora again. Nora felt the effort this time and used all her strength to fight the dragon. The two fought from the sun in the sky to the sun setting. Nora used up her last bit of strength and collapsed to the ground, unable to get up. Not bad, little girl. The dragon stopped attacking and praised, with your strength and age, you are one of the best among humans. Nora just snorted and didn't even have the strength to answer. The dragon chuckled twice and didn't care about Nora's rudeness. Every day after that, Nora would fight with the dragon until all her magic power and strength were exhausted. However, after exhausting her magic power and then recovering it, the speed was much faster than before. This discovery made Nora very happy. Every time she recovered a little strength, Nora would tell the dragon about what happened outside, and the dragon listened with relish. The dragon returned the favor and hunted high-level monsters for Nora as food every day. Nora roasted the high-level monsters. She has good cooking skills and the food she roasted is delicious. Nora only ate a small part, and most of the rest went into the mouth of the giant dragon Natasha. Natasha was more satisfied with Nora as a toy and was determined to keep Nora. At least, she would not let Nora leave until she got tired of playing with her. With Nora's current strength, she could not leave her territory. Nora repeated this life every day, and her strength increased in a way visible to the naked eye in the battle with Natasha. When she first entered the restricted area, she had just become a mage. After half a year, Nora was already an intermediate mage. If other people knew about this speed, they would definitely be jealous. You know, the higher the level, the harder it is to be promoted. Most mages take several years or even decades to upgrade a small level. Some people upgrade a large level, from mage to great mage, and it may even take hundreds or even thousands of years. If Nora's improvement speed is told to others, I'm afraid most people will not believe it. And if they believe it, they will only go crazy and want to get a way to quickly improve their strength from Nora. This is also the important reason why the Ackerman family has obtained a good magic training method, and their children and grandchildren are all better than other people of the same age, but they have to pretend to be 2 or 3 levels lower in strength. The head of the Ackerman family knows how eager and crazy others are for methods that can quickly improve their strength. If they find out that the Ackerman family has such a method, they will definitely use various means to force or frame the Ackerman family. In the case that the Ackerman family has no magic god to appear to calm the situation, it is still necessary to keep a low profile. Half a year has passed, and Nora decided to leave. She packed her things and said goodbye to Natasha. After half a year of getting along, she regarded Natasha as a friend. I won't let you leave. Natasha was very angry. I must leave. Nora said, I said that I can only accompany you for half a year, and I have to go back to see my parents and relatives. No. No. Natasha shouted, you are not allowed to leave. If you leave, I will become bored again. I can't find anything else to do except sleeping. Then you will not be bored if you leave the Gazdam forest and go out to play. Nora suggested to Natasha. After 6 months of getting along, Nora understood Natasha's character. Even if she entered human society, she would not act recklessly and cause harm to humans. So why not let Natasha go among humans? Why don't you leave with me? I'll take you to Kyoto and invite you to my home. Nora made a sincere invitation. Natasha was silent. After a long time, so long that Nora was about to doze off, Natasha finally spoke and said faintly, do you think I don't want to? I am very eager to live in human society. But the Gazdam forest has rules set by the gods. Level 10 monsters cannot leave the Gazdam forest. This is because they are afraid that level 10 monsters will mix into humans and cause harm to human society. When Natasha said this, tears were about to fall. Is there a dragon as pitiful as her? She just thought that life on Dragon Island was too boring, and she was full of yearning for the lively human society, so she sneaked out of Dragon Island. What was the result? She was tired of flying and wanted to find a place to rest, so she entered the Gazdam forest, and then was bound by the restrictions of the Gazdam forest. She couldn't leave the Gazdam forest. Not to mention going to the human society to see the world, she couldn't even go back to Dragon Island. Natasha burst into tears. Woo, 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 she regretted it. If she had known it would be like this, she would not have left Dragon Island. She missed her family and friends on Dragon Island. Nora. She wiped a handful of sympathetic tears for Natasha. Well, is there really no way out? Nora asked. Natasha was silent. Nora understood that there was a way, but it was not a way Natasha was willing to accept. After a long time, Natasha said, "There's a way, which is to sign a contract with humans and let humans take you out of the Gazdam forest." Nora understood. The contract to be signed is a Warcraft contract, which is equivalent to a master-servant contract, with humans as the master and Warcraft as the servant. As a proud dragon, Natasha would never bow to humans and become their servant. Nora asked Su Qingni in her heart, "Lord Qingni, do you have a way to help Natasha?" Su Qingni said, "Yes, just sign a peace contract." "Equality contract? What is it like?" Nora asked hurriedly. "This world only has the Warcraft contract and the master-servant contract, but no equality contract, nor the soul contract, Taoist companion contract and other more powerful contracts that other worlds have." Su Qingni passed the relevant information and signing method of the equality contract into Nora's mind. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345, Western Fantasy 10. Nora closed her eyes and studied the contract carefully. Natasha was angry when she saw her like this. "I was talking to you and you fell asleep. You don't take me seriously." "Nora Ackerman!" Natasha yelled. Nora opened her eyes in fear and met Natasha's angry eyes. "Well, Natasha, don't be angry." Nora knew that Natasha had misunderstood, and quickly comforted the Tyrannosaurus. "I won't sleep, I'm looking for a way to help you." Natasha snorted, "What can you do?" "Yes, I found a way." Nora said, "I once saw a note left by a god-level strong man, which recorded an equal contract that made both parties equal and no one subordinate to anyone. The two of us can sign this contract. Then you can follow me out of Gazdam Forest." Natasha didn't quite believe what Nora said, and squinted her eyes and said, "Equal contract? Why haven't I heard of it? There is no such contract in our dragon records. You don't want to use a disguised Warcraft contract or a master-servant's contract to trick me, do you? This equal contract was developed by the strong men of the human race and has not been circulated, so even humans don't know about it. It is even more impossible for you dragons to know." Nora said, "If you are afraid that I will cheat you, I can teach you the way of the contract, and you will be the one to lead the contract." "Natasha, who knows if what you gave me is real? If you gave me a contract with a servant as the leader, wouldn't I really become your servant?" "Nora. This girl really thinks too much? But this is normal. Those who are not of my race must have different hearts." Natasha and Nora get along well, but the two are still wary of each other. "So, go catch a monster and test the authenticity of the contract with it first," Nora suggested. Natasha thought about it and felt that this idea was okay. If the contract is fake, it is just a contract with a monster without wisdom. Because of the contract, she has no way to kill the monster, but as long as she throws it out of her territory, the monster will not live long. The master-servant's contract is not a soul contract. Although the death of the monster will have a certain impact on her, she is strong and that little impact will not cause too much harm. She can bear it. Thinking of this, Natasha flapped her wings and flew into the air and flew out of her territory. Nora simply sat down and waited for Natasha to catch the monster. She took this time to study the equality contract more. After a while, Natasha came back with a low-level monster. Nora also sorted out all the key points of the equality contract and explained it to Natasha in detail. Natasha's thousands of years were not in vain. At least she had some knowledge of the existing knowledge on the continent. After she wrote down the equality contract, she learned by analogy and mastered the equality contract in a short time. Natasha signed a contract with a low-level monster. She felt it and found that they were equal. There was no one who was subordinate to who had to obey whose orders, otherwise it would be very uncomfortable. Natasha couldn't help laughing. With this equality contract, she could contract Nora and leave the Gazdam forest. After laughing enough, Natasha looked at Nora. Nora understood and killed the low-level monster. The monster died and the contract was eliminated. Natasha naturally suffered a little backlash. However, she just turned pale and spit out blood, and then there was no abnormality. The backlash of the contract caused little damage to her. This was mainly because she had just signed a contract with a low-level monster, and the connection between the two was not yet deep, so when the low-level monster died, Natasha suffered less backlash. If time passed, the connection between the two would be closer, and then kill the low-level monster, Natasha would suffer a lot more backlash. No matter how strong Natasha's body was, she would suffer a lot of internal injuries. "Are you okay?" Nora asked with concern. "It's okay." Natasha wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and said happily, "Let's sign the contract quickly." "Okay." Just like that, Natasha and Nora signed an equal contract. Both of them were very happy. Natasha was happy that she could finally leave Gazdam forest. Nora was also happy that she could finally leave Gazdam forest. With such a powerful fighter like Natasha, she finally didn't have to be chased by the high-level monsters outside the restricted area and run around, but could never run out of Gazdam forest. However, Natasha's smile froze before it lasted long. She looked at the treasures in her cave with reluctance. She left, but could not take so many treasures with her. "Oh my, it hurts her so much?" Nora saw Natasha's expression and couldn't help laughing. She understood how entangled Natasha was. Since Natasha was her contract partner now, she would help her. Nora took out a storage bag and handed it to Natasha. "This is for you, you can put your treasure in it." "What is this?" Natasha took the bag and asked in confusion. "This is a storage bag. Don't look at it as small, but there is a cubic meter of space inside, which can hold a lot of things," Nora said. "What?" Natasha's eyes widened in shock, and she immediately checked the storage bag. "Well, you have to drip blood to recognize the owner first," Nora instructed Natasha. Natasha quickly did it, and then she was even more shocked. "Really, there is such a large space?" Natasha was having a lot of fun playing with the storage bag. Nora smiled on the side. "How can the space in the storage bag be considered big? The space in her own storage ring is bigger." As Natasha put the treasures into the storage bag, she said to Nora gratefully, "You are so kind to give me such a magical tool. From now on, you will be my good sister, Natasha. If anyone bullies you, I will help you bully back." Nora smiled. The space in the storage bag was still too small, and Natasha had too much treasure. The entire storage bag was full, and Natasha even gave Nora some treasures out of pain, but there were still a lot of treasures left in the cave. Natasha was full of reluctance. "It would be great if I could have 10 more storage bags." "Nora, yes." Natasha turned her head and looked at Nora. "You still have storage bags?" Nora shook her head. "No more." Natasha shouted, "Then you said you had some." Nora smiled. "Not now, but I can make it again." Natasha was confused. "What do you mean?" Nora still smiled. "It means that I can make storage bags. The storage bag in your hands now is made by me." Natasha, Chapter 346, Western Fantasies I. After knowing what materials were needed to make the storage bag, Natasha immediately ran around the forest to collect them. Gazdam forest is rich in resources, and the materials for making storage bags are all here. Natasha went out to collect materials, and Nora did the preliminary work with the existing materials. Natasha is really amazing. It hasn't been long since she collected half of the materials for making it. Nora happily chatted with Su Qingni while handling the materials. "With Natasha by my side, Lord Qingni will be able to relax in the future. Don't worry about me encountering fatal dangers." When Nora mentioned danger, she thought of the culprit who had put her in danger many times, Julia. Thinking of Julia, Nora thought of the army of skeletons summoned by Julia. Nora frowned. She felt that the magic used by Julia was too evil, and it even disturbed the rest of the dead. No one on the continent had ever used this kind of magic. How did Julia know this kind of magic? Would she be in collusion with the demons? Nora told Su Qingni her thoughts. Su Qingni's voice was very cold, And this coldness was not directed at Nora. That is necromancy, it is dark magic. The necromancer summons and controls the undead creatures to fight for them. It is a forbidden magic. There is no necromancy in this continent. Qiao Liai's necromancy must come from the game system. Really, isn't it good to learn other magic? Why learn necromancy? As a frequent visitor to the netherworld, Su Qingni, like other employees of the underworld, attaches great importance to the boundary between life and death, and hates the existence of necromancers who disturb the order of the underworld. On the surface, necromancers look a bit similar to Maotian Taoist priests raising little ghosts. But the Maotian Taoist priests signed a contract with the little ghosts with the consent of the little ghosts. The little ghosts help the Maotian Taoist priests fight and accumulate merits, and they can be reincarnated in the future. But the necromancer relies on magic to forcibly pull the undead out of the world of the dead and control them to fight for themselves without the consent of the dead. What's worse is that after these undead were killed again in reality, they did not return to the capital of the dead to continue to rest, but their souls were completely scattered. The necromancer is the culprit for the souls of the dead, and they will bear the sin. That is to say, those worlds where necromancers exist do not have the projection of the underworld, so the necromancers can be so free. If there is an underworld in those worlds, the necromancers will definitely be punished by the underworld after death. With their sins, they will definitely be thrown into the 18 levels of hell, and it will be impossible to come out after hundreds of thousands of years. Now there is no projection of the underworld in this world, only the capital of the dead. There is no law to protect and restrain the dead, so Qiao Liai can cast the necromancy so easily and summon the dead. If it were a world with the underworld, Qiao Liai would be noticed by the underworld officials as soon as she used the necromancy, and she would be caught and thrown into hell. Nora, you are already a magician, so there is no need to go to school. After you return to the Ackerman family this time, you should apply for graduation. Su Qingni said to Nora, then travel around and gain more knowledge. This way, she can find the extremely yin place and quickly summon the netherworld to stop Qiao Liai from persecuting the undead. Oh, okay. Nora listened to Su Qingni's words and agreed obediently without raising any objections. She wrote down Su Qingni's description of the necromancer and hated Qiao Liai in her heart. How can there be such a thing as a necromancer in the world? When she returns to Kyoto, she will expose Qiao Liai. I believe that no one will accept the existence of a necromancer. I'm back. The very energetic voice is Natasha, who is so happy that she is almost crazy. I have collected all the materials. As soon as the voice fell, a tall and hot beauty appeared in front of Nora. This beauty is naturally Natasha in human form. She has long silver hair, is over 1.8 meters tall, has a hot body, and a bright face. Nora has seen many bright women, but none of them can compare to Natasha. However, Natasha is not too proud of her appearance. According to her, she has seen elves, and that is the real beauty. If the elves were not so powerful, she would like to take a male elf as her male lover. Nora is full of longing for this. Dragons, elves, dwarves. She has only seen these in the records of books, and she really wants to see them with her own eyes. Natasha handed the materials to Nora. Nora started to make a storage bag. Because the animal skin used as the main material is more advanced animal skin, the storage bag made is also more advanced, and the storage space has doubled to 2 cubic meters. Nora made more than a dozen storage bags, and most of them were given to Natasha. Natasha put all her treasures into the storage bag and carried them with her. Natasha patted the storage bags hanging on her waist with satisfaction. Storage bags are the best treasures for dragons. With storage bags, dragons can carry all their belongings with them, and no longer have to worry about the treasures being snatched away by other dragons or stolen by insects. The two finally walked out of Natasha's territory. Along the way, with the dragon breath emitted by Natasha, the monsters did not dare to approach. The forest that was originally very dangerous to Nora is now like the back garden of Ackerman's family. Nora walked leisurely in the forest and encountered many valuable and precious magic plants. Nora picked them easily. These magic plants alone can be exchanged for a lot of gold coins outside the forest, which can make a poor person who is penniless immediately become a nouveau riche who can buy a small city. Not to mention the magic core Nora got from the monster, which can also be exchanged for a large amount of gold coins. So, Gazdam Forest is a paradise for adventurers. Finally out. Nora stood on the street of Gross City, watching the people coming and going, and felt as if she were in another world. It's so lively. It's really different from Dragon Island. Natasha cheered and rushed into the crowd, looking here and there, like a bumpkin. After a while, Natasha had many different delicacies in her hands. Human food is really delicious, and the taste is rich and varied. It's so delicious. Natasha praised Nora while eating. Nora whispered to Natasha, "Don't always say human, so as not to let people find out your identity." Natasha's face became serious and nodded. She understood that every race is not so friendly to aliens. Especially humans, there are many greedy people among them. Chapter 347 Western Fantasies AI. The two of them rested in Gross City for 2 days. Natasha ate and played everywhere in the city. She was strong, so Nora was not worried about her. Nora missed her family and wanted to return to the Ackerman family as soon as possible. But she had to deal with some of the things she brought out of the forest, so she temporarily delayed for 2 days. Anyway, it has been delayed for so long, and 1 or 2 days will not make a difference. 2 days later, Natasha, who was not yet fully prepared, was dragged to the carriage and horse shop by Nora. Hearing that Kyoto is more lively and there are more varieties of food, Natasha stopped pouting and happily watched Nora choose magic beasts in the carriage and horse shop. However, magic beasts are much more sensitive to breath than humans. The dragon clan naturally has a pressure on magic beasts. Except for magic beasts above level 9, none of the other magic beasts can stand up in front of Natasha. All of them kneel on the ground with 4 weak legs. No matter how the breeders pull them, they can't pull them up. Nora saw the appearance of the magic beasts, sighed, and pulled Natasha out of the carriage and horse shop. "We can only fly to Kyoto by ourselves," Nora said. Natasha stood in front of the monster, and the monster fell down. How could she ride it? Natasha looked at Nora sideways. "With your speed. When you reach the level of a magician, you can fly in the air, but the speed is not fast, about the same as the speed of an ordinary horse running. If you fly to Kyoto, it will take a long time." Nora also glanced at Natasha. "It's all because of you. There is no magical beast to ride, so you can only fly by yourself." Natasha snorted twice and said, "Okay, I don't count on you. I'll transform and take you back to Kyoto." But Nora shook her head vigorously. No, don't transform casually. Dragons haven't appeared on the continent for tens of thousands of years. If you transform and fly in the sky, it will be too high profile. If you are discovered, you will be in trouble. "Natasha, what's the trouble? With my strength, I can solve it," Nora persuaded kindly. "Although you are powerful, there are also God-level masters among humans who can match you. Although the number of God-level masters is not large, less than the number of 2 palms. If these God-level masters join forces to deal with you, can you beat them together?" Natasha said indignantly, "Why do they join forces to deal with me?" Nora stared at Natasha and said faintly, "Those who are not of my race must have different hearts." Natasha's face suddenly turned ugly. "But I just came to the mainland to play, and I have no ill will towards humans." "Nora, but they don't know. So, you'd better hide your identity. Only by hiding your identity can you play and eat freely, right?" Natasha thought about it, and accepted Nora's words with puffed cheeks. "But I can transform at night and fly higher, so that no one will find me." Natasha said to Nora, "The distance between Gross City and Kyoto is not far. I can fly there in half a night." This dragon girl wanted to go to Kyoto to play as soon as possible. Nora. Only a dragon would think that the distance between Gross City and Kyoto is close. She thought about it, and finally the idea of wanting to see her parents and relatives as soon as possible prevailed, and she nodded and agreed. So the two stayed in the city for another day, and when the city gate was about to close, the two left the city. The city guards at the gate were puzzled to see them go out at this time, but these city guards were old hands and saw many things, but they would never ask too many questions or say too much. The two flew slowly all the way to Kyoto. The adventurers who saw this scene did not dare to approach them. Those who can fly in the sky are all powerful people above the level of magicians and warriors. Who dares to provoke them? If you anger them, who can stop you? It was not too late at this time, and sporadic adventurers could be seen on the road. They did not enter the city for various reasons and slept outside the city. However, as the night deepened, everyone fell asleep and could no longer see anyone else. Natasha turned back to her original form, and Nora jumped on her back. Natasha flapped her wings, took Nora to the high school, and rushed out in the direction of Kyoto like a meteor. The dragon was really fast. It took Nora and her companions 10 days to ride the intermediate magic beast from Kyoto to Gross City. This time, sitting on Natasha's back, they had not even finished their nap when they both arrived at a valley 200 miles away from Kyoto. Natasha landed quickly without letting anyone notice her. Natasha turned back into human form, and Nora took out the delicious food she had bought to reward Natasha. The two rested in the valley, and only left the valley at dawn and flew to Kyoto. The two landed at the city gate and entered the city. Because there were many masters in Kyoto, and masters from other places often came here to visit old friends, the city gate guards did not make too much of a fuss about the two people who fell from the sky. There were even magic gods and magic saints in Kyoto, so how could they care too much about two magicians and war masters? Nora took Natasha back to Ackerman's house. When the gatekeeper saw Nora, his eyes almost bulged out, and his face was full of disbelief. Suddenly, the gatekeeper shouted to the inside, "Go and tell the master and the young masters and ladies that Miss Nora is back. Miss Nora is not dead." Nora blinked her eyes and understood, and asked the gatekeeper, "Garfield said I died in the Gazdam forest." The gatekeeper nodded. Nora sneered twice and walked into the gate with Natasha. Entering the hall, Nora saw her great-grandfather, grandfather, father, mother and two brothers standing in the hall waiting for her, as well as other relatives, all with surprise on their faces. "Nora, you're okay, it's great." When her mother saw Nora, she shed tears of joy. Nora hurried forward to hug her mother and comfort her mother. "Mom, I'm back safely. Don't cry." "Nora, what's going on? What happened to you in the Gazdam forest? Why did Garfield say you were dead?" Great-grandfather Adrian Ackerman waited for Nora to comfort her mother and asked. This was a question that everyone was curious about, and everyone listened to Nora's answer attentively. Nora sighed and did not answer. Instead, she asked, "Grandfather, my engagement with Garfield has been cancelled because of my death, right? Let me guess, Garfield's current fiancée is Julia Bulvis, the daughter of Duke Bulvis." "Yes," Iridian replied. He understood, and there was no need to ask any more questions. Nora's death must be related to Julia Bulvis, and Garfield might have also intervened. Chapter 348, Western Fantasy 13. Nora told the Ackerman family about how Julia framed her, including the fact that Garfield had hooked up with Julia before. The Ackerman family was furious after hearing this. "Garfield, that bastard, I'm going to kill him." Caps was about to rush out angrily, but was stopped by Nora. Nora stopped Caps. "Brother, Garfield has the Alworth family and the royal family behind him, so we can't kill him. We can only endure this. So what if there is a royal family? The royal family just relies on the fact that they have a god of law." Caps snorted, "Now that my great-grandfather is also a god of law, we don't have to be afraid of the royal family." Nora's eyes lit up, and she said in surprise, "My great-grandfather became a god of law." She looked at Adrian. Adrian stroked his beard, smiled proudly, and nodded at Nora. Nora was very happy and congratulated Adrian repeatedly. "With our great-grandfather here, we don't have to keep a low profile like usual." Cap's mood also changed, and he said happily, "We still have to be careful." Grandfather Elijah said, "Father has become the god of magic, and you young people have all performed better than your peers. People from other families will definitely think that our family has more powerful skills or treasures. Prophets are the most attractive. I'm afraid that in order to snatch our skills and treasures, they will unite and attack the Ackerman family. If we don't admit that we have these things, will they still attack?" Caps asked in disbelief. "As long as they believe it a little, they will probably take action." Father Laurent said in a deep voice, "Even if they believe that our family has no treasures, the Ackerman family itself is a huge interest. If they unite to destroy our Ackerman family, they can divide our family's interests." Caps was shocked by this, and after a long time he said, "No wonder you don't let us show our true strength." Laurent said, "This is for your own good. You are not Garfield. Exposing your true strength will only bring you danger. The hearts of people from those big families are black. They don't look at others, they only look at Garfield. He has a woman he likes, and he lets that woman kill your sister." Nora was listening to the conversation of her relatives, and when she heard Laurent mention Julia, she suddenly shouted, "Oh no, I once exposed my true level in front of Julia. They thought I was dead before and didn't think too much. But now that I'm back alive, will they suspect our family because of my son?" Everyone was startled. "It is very likely." Elijah spoke up and said to Adrian, "Father, Why don't all of us in the Ackerman family withdraw from Kyoto and return to our original territory? That is our route. If the royal family wants to take action against us, they should think twice. Adrian pondered for a while and asked others, what do you think? The older people are willing to return to the Ackerman territory, but the younger generation can't let go of the lively life in Kyoto. Cap snorted, if you don't have a life, how can you live? All the young people expressed their desire to follow their elders back to their hometown. Nora smiled happily at the united family, took Natasha to Adrian, and introduced her to Adrian. Great-grandfather, let me introduce you, this is my good friend and my contractor, Natasha. Contractor. Adrian looked at Nora and Natasha in surprise. Most of the contracts on the mainland are between humans and monsters. The woman in front of him is not a human? Who is she? Nora said with a smile, legend has it that there is a giant dragon in the center of Gazdam Forest. Because everyone in the hall was from the Ackerman family and they were no relatives that Nora trusted, she did not hide Natasha's identity. She is actually a giant dragon. Everyone was shocked. Natasha raised her head and slightly released her god-level pressure. She controlled it precisely and only controlled the pressure in the hall without leaking it out. Adrian was the first to react and laughed. Great, great. Nora is worthy of being the lucky star of our family. Not only can she turn danger into safety, but she also brought a god-level strongman to the Ackerman family. And the god-level strongman who lives in the stored ring. Nora's luck is simply amazing. I have to pay more attention to this child in the future. Nora also laughed happily and spit out another bomb. Great-grandfather, I am already a magician, an intermediate magician. What? This time, Adrian and the others' jaws dropped. The news of Nora's return to the Ackerman family was known to other families in Kyoto soon. All the other families were watching the show happily, watching how the Alworth family would solve the issue of Garfield and Nora's engagement. The people in other families were not fools. Garfield and Julia were flirting with each other without hiding from others. If they said that Nora's death was not a trick, no one would believe it. Now that Nora has returned safely, how will the Ackerman family react? How will the Alworth family react? The Alworth family was dissatisfied with Garfield. Although Julia was the daughter of the Duke of Burvis only got the title because of his relationship with the royal family, not because he had his own strength, and he didn't have much power, just a good name. Marrying with such a family would not benefit the Alworth family much. However, because Julia was outstanding, the Alworth family still accepted her as Garfield's fiancée. But in the end, the two of them did things so inappropriately that they let Nora come back alive. Now, the Ackerman family and the Ovis family are going to become enemies. Although the Ovis family has Garfield, the most talented heir of the younger generation, its foundation is much less than that of the Ackerman family. What's more, the Ackerman family now has a god-level master. You have to know that in the entire empire, only the royal family relied on a lot of resources to cultivate a god-level master. The power of a god-level master is unimaginable to a saint-level master. The Ovis family will only be at a disadvantage if they are hostile to the Ackerman family. Garfield and Julia both felt the dissatisfaction of the senior members of the Ovis family with them, especially Julia. Those people who she did not deliberately please were already dissatisfied with her, and now their attitude has become worse. Every time she is not a nose, her eyes are not eyes. Julia was angry in her heart, and she blamed Nora Ackerman. How could she be so lucky that she did not die in the Gazdam Forest? Suddenly, an idea flashed through her mind, an idea to kill someone with a boro knife. Chapter 349, Western Fantasies of Julia and Garfield found the head of the Alworth family. What did you say? Nora Ackerman has been hiding her strength? Is she actually a great magician? The head of the Alworth family was surprised. Julia nodded, yes, I have fought with her. Because my strength is not bad, she exposed her true strength. Garfield followed, great-grandfather, I suspect that the Ackerman family has obtained some treasure. Not only did it make Edric Ackerman, who has not made any progress in hundreds of years, become a god-level strong man, but it also allowed the young people of the Ackerman family to practice so quickly. If our Alworth family gets it. The head of the Alworth family's eyes flashed, and he was obviously moved. But, the head of the Alworth family sighed, the strength of our Alworth family is not as good as that of the Ackerman family, not to mention that the Ackerman family also has a god-level strong man. The power of a god-level strongman is not what you can imagine. Even if 10 saint-level strongmen join forces, they can't beat a god-level strongman. So strong. Garfield and Julia were surprised. Because the god-level masters of the royal family rarely appeared in front of people, and they had not taken action for hundreds of years, Garfield had no direct impression of the power of the god-level masters. He had only seen the saint-level masters take action, and it was just the result of the saint-level masters and his family suppressing their strength when instructing them. Therefore, he really didn't know how powerful the god-level masters were. The head of the Alworth family said, "A god-level master can blow the entire Kyoto into ruins with one blow with all his strength." Garfield and Qiao Liaya took a breath, and then both of them frowned. The god-level masters are so powerful, how can they deal with the Ackerman family? How can they deal with Nora Ackerman? Can they only wait for Nora Ackerman to retaliate against them? Qiao Liaya opened her game mall, wanting to find props that can deal with the god-level masters. Unfortunately, her own strength is still too low. She got some points for buying goods, but it is far from enough to buy props to deal with the god-level masters. There are such props in the mall, but each one requires at least hundreds of millions of points. And her current points are only tens of thousands. Julia was helpless, but Garfield had an idea. "Great-grandfather, doesn't the royal family have a god-level strong man?" Garfield said. The head of the Ovis family frowned. "You want to get the royal family to deal with the Ackerman family? No. Won't the treasure be taken away by the royal family?" Garfield said, "Great-grandfather, why don't we not disclose the treasure to the royal family? After we defeat the Ackerman family, we will look for the treasure in secret." The head of the Ovis family, "But without the temptation of treasure, how can the royal family join us to deal with the Ackerman family?" Garfield said, "Great-grandfather, there is no need to lure with treasures. As long as the provocation is appropriate, the royal family will definitely cooperate with us." The head of the Ovis family looked at Garfield, waiting for his next words. Garfield continued, "Great-grandfather, why has the royal family always been on top of other families? It's not because of anything else, but because the royal family has a god-level master. Now that the Ackerman family has also produced a god-level master, can the royal family be happy? They must be worried that the Ackerman family will replace them, right? Even if they can't think of this now, we can remind them." The head of the Owls family slapped his thigh. "Good. Good. Good." He looked at Garfield with admiration and affirmation. "You are worthy of being the best heir of our Owls family. I am very relieved to leave the Owls family to you in the future." The next day, the head of the Owls family took Garfield into the palace. Then, the Owls family and the royal family reached a cooperation intention, and the two families secretly gathered people and prepared to take action against Ackerman. However, they were still looking for the best opportunity, but the Ackerman family did not give them a chance. The clan members had left Kyoto one after another and returned to their own territory. The Ackerman family wants to escape. Julia said to Garfield, "We can't let them return to their base camp, otherwise it will be more difficult to deal with them." Garfield immediately stood up and said, "I'll go find my great-grandfather." The royal family and the Ovis family attacked the Ackerman family 2 days later. The Ackerman family had expected this. They have been keeping an eye on the actions of the two families. Especially around Garfield and Julia, many people were arranged to follow them. Although Julia had a game system, she could find people with red names around her. But she had offended many people, and there were many people in the Ovis family who were dissatisfied with her, and they were also shown as red names in her game map. With so many red names, Julia couldn't tell which ones were the ones following her. Adrian flew into the air and faced a man who looked like a middle-aged man. This man was Gabriel Macefield, a master of the royal family. Don't look at his appearance of only 34 years old. In fact, this man is more than 2,000 years old and almost 3,000 years old. He is the oldest among all. However, because of his great strength, he looks younger than Elijah Ackerman. Of course, after Edric became a god-level master, he also looked much younger. "Edric, you can commit suicide. As long as you commit suicide, I can spare the lives of the rest of your family," Gabriel said lightly. Edric snorted and laughed. "Gabriel, do you take me for a fool? If I really commit suicide, can the descendants of my family really keep their lives? You don't have to do anything. Those descendants of your family and the people of the Ovis family will never let my descendants go and will wipe them out." Gabriel said, "I can give them orders to leave a trace of blood for the Ackerman family so that the Ackerman family will not be extinct. Of course, the premise is that they can no longer practice the Ackerman family's exercises in the future." All the resources of the Ackerman family will be handed over to the royal family. Edric snorted coldly, "You are dreaming." Gabriel shook his head helplessly. "Edric, you are going to destroy the entire Ackerman family. If you really choose to fight me, the royal family and the saint-level masters of the Otis family will kill all the people in your Ackerman family." Edric chuckled twice. "Just them?" Gabriel narrowed his eyes and said, "It seems that you are very confident. In the Ackerman family, besides you who has been promoted to the god level, there is only one saint-level master left, right? The royal family and the Alworth family have 5 saint-level masters in total. 1 against 5, where do you get the confidence from?" As he said this, Gabriel was thinking in his heart, what exactly is the confidence of the Ackerman family? He is a very cautious person, and he will not take action if he is not sure of winning this time. But, did they miss something? Chapter 350, Western Fantasy 15. Before Gabriel could think of what Ackerman's trump card was, he saw that the 5 saint-level masters who led the charge towards the Ackerman family manor were beaten back. Then a figure flew out of the Ackerman family, and the aura all over his body. God level. Another god level master. Gabriel's pupils shrank sharply. No wonder the Ackerman family was so confident. They had 2 god level masters. How could they be afraid of the royal family and the Alworth family joining forces? I'm afraid that this time, the people from the 2 families who attacked the Ackerman family would find it difficult to retreat unscathed. Gabriel's mind turned quickly and he had the intention to retreat. Edric discovered his intention to retreat, and he stopped talking nonsense and immediately attacked. The Ackerman family is not a place where they can come and go as they please. How can we not teach them a lesson? Although it is difficult to kill a god-level master, he must be beaten to hurt him, so as not to become a threat to the Ackerman family again, and then deter people from other families. 2 god-level masters fought together. Although Edric had just entered the ranks of god-level masters, his strength was comparable to Gabriel's due to his skills. On the other side, the battle between Natasha and the other saint-level masters was one-sided. 10 saint-level masters combined were no match for a god-level master, let alone 5. Natasha did not kill the saint-level masters, but they were all injured by her and fled in embarrassment. Garfield and Julia were assigned the task of dealing with the young people in the Ackerman family, who were the new force of the younger generation of the 2 families. Julia had a game system, and she could upgrade by earning experience, and she was already a sky warrior. Garfield, with the help of the treasures that Julia bought from the game store, was already a great magician. When their levels were taken out, they were more firmly established as the most talented people in Kyoto. Many young people admired them very much, thinking that they were a perfect match, and excellent talents could match excellent people. Nora Ackerman was not as good as Julia, so she was naturally not worthy of Garfield. Garfield and Julia proudly rushed to the front line, thinking they could kill everyone, but they were stopped by Nora just after they entered the door of Ackerman's house. Garfield Alworth, Julia Bulvis. Nora called their names. "It's time to settle the accounts between us." Garfield stared at Nora coldly. Maybe he had a little regret for Nora before, but after being with Julia for a long time, he no longer felt sorry for Nora. "You are not our opponent, so you should retreat," Garfield said coldly. "Since you were once my fiancé, I will not kill you." Nora chuckled twice. "Then should I thank you for not killing me?" She glanced at the woman next to Garfield and snorted coldly. "Your current fiancé wants to kill me." Qiao Linai also snorted coldly. "I only regret not killing you last time, so that you have the opportunity to come back alive from the Gazdam forest." Nora's eyes shot out murderous intent, and she said to Qiao Linai coldly, "I also regret not killing you at that time." She really regretted it. When being chased by the high-level magic beasts in the inner circle of the forest, Nora deeply felt the power of the high-level magic beasts, and also distinguished that even though Qiao Linai practiced both magic and martial arts, the level of both was lower than hers. The skeleton she summoned only looked scary, and their strength was far from comparable to that of the high-level magic beasts. But she was afraid of being chased by those skeletons. If she could be calmer and not afraid, she could use magic to destroy those skeletons. And Julia's necromancy was useless, and her fighting spirit was only at the level of an earth warrior, so she could have killed her completely. Nora regretted it now. Alice, she was not experienced enough at the beginning. Julia laughed sarcastically. "Just you. So what if Nora is a great magician? Her current magic level is also a great magician, and she is also a sky warrior, so she can beat Nora Ackerman. What's more, there is Garfield, who is also a great magician. It would be easy for him to kill Nora Ackerman together with her. As for Garfield's previous statement that he would not kill Nora Ackerman, Julia laughed. The people from the two families who came with Julia and Garfield also thought Nora's words were funny. Julia is now a sky warrior, and Nora Ackerman is just a small intermediate magician. She still wants to kill Julia? Bullshit, right? But Nora only took off her disguise and released all her momentum. Julia was dumbfounded. Garfield was dumbfounded. The people of the two families were dumbfounded. This is a magician. A young magician, higher than the great magician Garfield. Doesn't this mean that Nora Ackerman is more talented and better than Garfield and Julia? Everyone looked at Nora, then at Garfield, and then at Julia. Those who had not been deliberately befriended by Julia thought that Garfield was at a loss. Even Garfield felt a little regretful. But then this regret was suppressed by the murderous intent. Such a person who is more talented than herself must not be allowed to live. Julia was extremely jealous. She was a traverser, and a traverser with a game system. With such a big golden finger, she couldn't catch up with Nora Ackerman, a native, in improving her strength. Isn't it said that it is difficult for natives to be promoted to a magician? Even if Garfield is so talented, it will take at least 30 years old to be promoted to a magician, and this is when he has natural materials and treasures to improve his cultivation. Why did Nora Ackerman improve so fast? Could it be that she is the child of destiny and the darling of heaven in this world? Then what is she? Aren't travelers the darlings of heaven? Julia felt a huge threat from Nora. This person is her nemesis. If she doesn't kill Nora Ackerman, she won't be too smooth in this world. She might really be killed by this person. Julia gritted her teeth and said to Garfield beside her, "Garfield, Nora Ackerman must die. If she doesn't die, she will be the biggest stumbling block on our way forward." Garfield said in a deep voice, "I understand. The two people are worthy of being a pair, equally selfish and even have the same ideas." Nora sneered after listening to what they said. It's not certain who will kill whom. The three people fought together. Because Julia knew that the necromancer would not be welcomed by others, she did not use necromancy at first, but used fighting spirit and combat skills to fight with Garfield. The two thought that they could kill Nora together, but the magician's strength was not something that could be resisted by the cooperation of two people. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.